Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between tall mountains and a dense forest, lived a young girl named Elara. Elara was known throughout the village for her adventurous spirit and curious nature. Her grandmother would often tell her stories about the enchanted moonflower, a rare bloom that only appeared once every 100 years in the heart of the Whispering Woods. The moonflower was said to have magical powers. Its petals shimmered like silver, and it could grant a wish to the one who found it under the full moon. For generations, villagers had ventured into the woods, hoping to find the mystical flower, but none had succeeded. Elara had grown up hearing these tales and had always dreamed of discovering the moonflower herself. One fateful evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Elara's heart filled with determination. "Tonight is the night," she whispered to herself. With her lantern in hand, she slipped quietly out of her cottage and into the woods. The Whispering Woods were eerie and mysterious. The trees seemed to murmur secrets, and the wind howled softly through the branches. But Elara was unafraid. She followed a narrow, winding path that her grandmother had described, leading deeper into the forest. The moonlight illuminated her way, casting long shadows on the ground. Hours passed, and Elara began to grow weary. Doubt crept into her mind. Perhaps the moonflower is just a story after all, she thought. But just as she was about to turn back, a soft, silvery glow caught her eye. She turned toward the light and gasped. There, in a small clearing, stood the moonflower. Its petals glistened like stardust, and its stem seemed to pulse with a gentle, magical energy. Elara approached slowly, her heart pounding in her chest. She had found it, the legendary moonflower. As she reached out to touch the delicate petals, a soft voice echoed through the clearing. "Who dares to pluck the moonflower?" it asked. Startled, Elara looked around but saw no one. "I am Elara," she said, her voice steady. "I have come to make a wish." The voice responded, "Many have sought the moonflower, but only those with pure intentions may make a wish. What is it that you desire, young one?" Elara thought for a moment. She could wish for anything: riches, power, fame. But none of those things mattered to her. Instead, she remembered her village, which had been suffering from drought for years. The crops were withering, and the people were struggling. She knew what she had to do. "I wish for my village to have abundant rain, so that our crops may grow, and my people will no longer suffer," Elara said, her voice filled with hope. The voice was silent for a moment, and then it spoke again. "Your wish is noble, Elara. The moonflower shall grant it." As the words faded into the night, the petals of the moonflower began to glow even brighter. Suddenly, a beam of light shot up from the flower, reaching toward the sky. The clouds gathered, dark and heavy, and moments later, a gentle rain began to fall. Elara smiled. Her heart filled with joy. She had done it, she had found the moonflower and saved her village. The next morning, when Elara returned to the village, the rain was still falling softly. The villagers rejoiced, for the drought was over. They asked Elara how it had happened, but she simply smiled and said, "Sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of hope and a lot of courage." And from that day on, the Whispering Woods were no longer a place of mystery and fear, but a symbol of hope and wonder. And Elara? She became a legend, just like the moonflower itself. Once upon a time, in the verdant land of Verdantia, there was a peaceful village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests. The villagers lived simple lives, tending to their fields and caring for their animals. Among them was a young boy named Finn, known for his curiosity and adventurous spirit. One day, while exploring the edge of the forest, Finn stumbled upon an old, weathered chest buried under a blanket of fallen leaves. Intrigued, he brushed off the dirt and opened it to find an ornate key lying atop a velvet cushion. The key was beautifully crafted, with intricate designs and a large emerald embedded in its handle. There was no note or indication of what it might unlock, but Finn felt a mysterious pull towards it. That night, as Finn pondered the key's origin, he noticed a strange glow emanating from the forest. The light seemed to beckon him, and with the key in his pocket, he decided to follow the glow. he ventured deeper into the forest than he had ever gone before, guided by the soft, ethereal light. After a while, Finn arrived at a clearing he had never seen. At its center stood an ancient, ivy-covered gate that shimmered under the moonlight. The gate seemed to hum with magic. Finn took out the key and found that it fit perfectly into the gate's lock. With a turn of the key, the gate creaked open, revealing a hidden path. The path led to a grand, abandoned castle, its towers reaching up to the stars and its walls cloaked in mystery. The castle's grandeur was evident even in its dilapidated state. Finn felt a mix of excitement and trepidation as he entered through the castle's massive wooden doors. Inside, the castle was filled with cobwebs and dust, but there was an undeniable sense of magic in the air. As Finn explored the vast, echoing halls, he noticed that the castle seemed to be in a state of enchanted slumber. The grand chandeliers were covered in shimmering dust, and the tapestries on the walls told stories of a bygone era. In the heart of the castle, Finn discovered a large, ornate door adorned with symbols that matched those on the key. With a deep breath, he inserted the key into the door's lock and turned it. The door opened to reveal a magnificent room bathed in a soft, golden light. At the center of the room was a pedestal with a glowing crystal orb. The moment Finn touched the orb, the castle seemed to come alive. The dust and cobwebs vanished, the chandeliers sparkled brightly, and the tapestries began to move, depicting scenes of vibrant life. A gentle voice filled the room. "Welcome, young seeker," the voice said. "I am Elara, the guardian of this castle. You have freed me from a long enchantment. The key you found was meant for someone with a pure heart and a sense of wonder." Elara, appearing as a radiant spirit, explained that the castle had been cursed many centuries ago by a jealous sorcerer who wanted to keep its magic for himself. The curse had caused the castle to fall into disrepair and to remain hidden from the world. Only someone with true bravery and a kind heart could break the enchantment. Finn listened with awe as Elara continued. "The crystal orb you see before you holds the essence of the castle's magic. With it, you can restore its power and share its wonders with the world." Finn agreed to help and carefully carried the orb back to the village. As he approached the village, the orb's light began to shine even more brightly. The villagers gathered, astonished by the sight of the radiant orb and the newly restored castle. With Elara's guidance, Finn and the villagers worked together to transform the castle into a place of wonder and joy. The once abandoned halls became vibrant with life, and the castle's magic brought prosperity to Verdantia. The village flourished, and the castle became a symbol of hope and enchantment. Finn's bravery and kindness were celebrated, and the tale of the enchanted key and the hidden castle became a cherished legend. The castle stood as a reminder that even in the darkest times, magic and wonder can be found by those with open hearts. And so, Finn lived a life filled with adventure and joy, knowing that he had unlocked not just the doors of an ancient castle, but also the potential for greatness within himself and his village. Once upon a time, in a land where the night sky was filled with more stars than grains of sand on a beach, there was a small village called Glimmerwood. The village was named after the magical forest that surrounded it, where the trees sparkled like silver in the moonlight, and the streams shimmered with the glow of the stars reflected on their surfaces. In this village lived a young girl named Mira, who was known for her curious nature and her love of the stars. Every night, Mira would sit by her window and gaze up at the sky, watching the stars twinkle and dance. She would often dream of catching a star and keeping it close to her heart, imagining the warmth and light it would bring. One evening, as Mira was sitting by her window, she noticed something strange. One of the stars in the sky was shining brighter than all the others, and it seemed to be getting closer. As she watched in awe, the star descended from the heavens, landing gently in the Glimmerwood forest. Its light was so bright that it lit up the entire forest, turning night into day. Mira knew she had to find the fallen star. She quickly put on her cloak, grabbed a small lantern, and ventured into the forest. The trees glowed softly as she made her way through, guiding her steps toward the star's resting place. After walking for what felt like hours, Mira finally reached a clearing. In the center of the clearing, surrounded by the soft glow of the trees, was the star. It was smaller than she had imagined, about the size of her hand, but it shone with a light so pure and warm that it filled her heart with joy. As Mira approached the star, she heard a soft, melodic voice. "Who is it that seeks the light of the stars?" Startled, Mira looked around and saw a figure emerge from the shadows of the trees. It was an old woman, her hair silver as the moon, and her eyes twinkling like the stars themselves. She was the Starcatcher, a wise and ancient being who watched over the stars and protected them from harm. "I'm Mira," the girl said, bowing her head respectfully. "I saw the star fall from the sky, and I came to find it. I've always dreamed of holding a star in my hands." The Starcatcher smiled kindly. "You have a brave heart, Mira, and a pure spirit. Not many would venture into the forest at night to seek out a fallen star. But stars are not meant to be kept, they belong in the sky, where they can light the way for all." Mira's heart sank a little. She had hoped to keep the star, to hold its light close and cherish it forever. But she understood the Starcatcher's words. "I see," she said softly. "But why did the star fall from the sky in the first place?" The Starcatcher's expression grew serious. "This star, like all stars, has a purpose. It is a guide for those who are lost, a beacon of hope in the darkest of nights. But sometimes, stars lose their way too, and they need help to find their place in the sky again. This star fell because it was searching for something, a place where it could shine the brightest." Mira looked at the star, feeling a connection to it. "Then I will help it find its way back. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure it shines again." The Starcatcher nodded approvingly. "You have a good heart, Mira. To return the star to the sky, you must take it to the highest peak of the Moonlight Mountain. There, you will find a crystal pool that reflects the night sky. If you place the star in the pool, it will be able to find its way home." Mira agreed without hesitation. She gently picked up the star, feeling its warmth spread through her hands, and set off on her journey to Moonlight Mountain. The path was long and steep, but Mira was determined. She climbed higher and higher, the star lighting her way through the darkness. As she climbed, the star began to glow brighter, as if it knew it was getting closer to its destination. But the journey was not without its challenges. The wind grew colder, and the path became narrower, with sharp rocks and steep cliffs on either side. But Mira held the star close, its light giving her the strength to keep going. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Mira reached the peak of Moonlight Mountain. There, as the Starcatcher had said, was a crystal-clear pool, reflecting the stars above. The sight was breathtaking, and for a moment, Mira simply stood in awe of the beauty around her. Gently, she knelt by the pool and held the star over the water. "It's time for you to go home," she whispered, feeling a bittersweet twinge in her heart. She slowly lowered the star into the pool, watching as its light merged with the reflection of the stars in the sky. As soon as the star touched the water, the entire pool began to glow, and the star rose from the surface, ascending back into the sky. Mira watched as it soared higher and higher, until it found its place among the other stars, shining even more brightly than before. The Starcatcher appeared beside Mira, her eyes filled with pride. "You have done a great thing, Mira. The star has found its place, and it will guide those who are lost, just as you have guided it. Remember, true light shines brightest when it is shared." Mira smiled, her heart filled with warmth and happiness. She had dreamed of holding a star, and though she had to let it go, she knew she had helped it fulfill its purpose. As she made her way back down the mountain, the stars in the sky seemed to shine a little brighter, as if thanking her for her kindness. When she returned to Glimmerwood, the villagers noticed the change in the night sky. The stars seemed more vibrant, more alive, and they wondered what had caused such a change. But Mira kept her adventure a secret, knowing that the star was exactly where it needed to be. From that night on, whenever Mira looked up at the sky, she would find the star she had helped and smile, knowing that she had played a part in its journey. And in her heart, she carried the light of that star, a reminder that sometimes, the greatest treasures are the ones we help others find. The end. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Luminera, there was a small village known for its radiant lanterns that glowed softly every evening, casting a warm light across the land. The lanterns were not just ordinary lights, they were believed to hold the magic of the kingdom's peace and prosperity. At the edge of the village lived a young girl named Mira. Mira's family was known for their skill in crafting lanterns, but lately, their lanterns had begun to lose their glow, and the village's prosperity had waned. Mira was determined to restore the lantern's magic and help her family. One evening, as Mira sat by the hearth, her grandmother told her an old legend. It was said that the original light of the lanterns came from the enchanted flame, a mystical fire that burned in the heart of the Whispering Mountains. To rekindle the lantern's magic, one needed to seek out this flame and bring a piece of it back. Mira decided to undertake the journey. She packed a small bag with essentials and set out the next morning, guided by the hope of restoring her village's light. The path to the Whispering Mountains was long and filled with challenges. The first challenge Mira faced was the Forest of Shadows. The forest was dark and filled with whispering shadows that could lead travelers astray. Mira was approached by a mischievous fox named Flick who offered to help her navigate the forest. "If you want my help," Flick said with a grin, "you must solve my riddle. I can fly without wings. I can cry without eyes. Whenever I go, darkness flies. What am I?" Mira thought for a moment and replied, "A cloud." Flick's eyes sparkled with delight, and he agreed to guide her through the forest. With Flick's help, Mira safely made it through the Forest of Shadows. Next, Mira arrived at the River of Reflections, a wide, shimmering river that mirrored not only the landscape but also her innermost fears and doubts. To cross the river, Mira had to confront her own worries about the journey and her ability to succeed. She took a deep breath and reminded herself of her village and her family's needs. With determination in her heart, she crossed the river using a small boat she found by the shore. After crossing the river, Mira reached the base of the Whispering Mountains. The final challenge was to climb the steep, rocky paths to reach the enchanted flame. As she climbed, she encountered a wise old mountain goat named Gora. To reach the heart of the mountain, Gora said, "You must prove your courage and perseverance. Here is the final test. What is the one thing you can hold without touching it, and that can fill a room without being seen?" Mira thought carefully and answered, "Hope." Gora nodded in approval and allowed her to continue up the mountain. With renewed determination, Mira climbed to the peak where she finally saw the enchanted flame, a brilliant, magical fire that danced with colors and light. She approached it with reverence and carefully collected a small ember in a specially prepared jar. As Mira descended the mountain, the ember of the enchanted flame glowed brightly, lighting her way. When she returned to the village, she carefully placed the ember into the heart of the largest lantern. As the ember touched the lantern's flame, a magical glow spread throughout the village, restoring the warmth and radiance of every lantern. The villagers rejoiced as their homes and streets were once again bathed in the comforting light of their lanterns. Prosperity returned to the village, and Mira's family was celebrated for their craftsmanship. Mira was hailed as a hero, and her bravery and determination were remembered as a beacon of hope. The enchanted flame continued to burn brightly in the lanterns, a lasting symbol of the village's unity and resilience. Mira's journey became a cherished tale in Luminera, inspiring others to seek out their own sources of light and hope in times of darkness. And so, the kingdom of Luminera thrived, its lanterns shining brightly with the magic of the enchanted flame, and its people lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a land far beyond the seas, there was a hidden kingdom called Elaria. This kingdom was known for its stunning beauty, with lush forests, sparkling rivers, and mountains that reached the heavens. But what made Elaria truly special was its guardian, a mystical dragon named Zephyra, who protected the land with her powerful magic. The people of Elaria lived in harmony, and their queen, Queen Seraphina, was beloved by all. She was wise and kind, always putting her people's needs above her own. The source of her wisdom and strength was a magical amulet called the Heart of Elaria, a gift from Zephyra. The amulet had the power to ensure peace and prosperity, but it could only be wielded by a pure heart. One dark night, a sorcerer named Malgath, driven by envy and greed, infiltrated the kingdom. Disguised as a humble traveler, he charmed his way into the palace and managed to steal the heart of Elaria. Without its power, the kingdom began to wither. The rivers dried up, crops failed, and the once lush forests turned barren. Queen Seraphina fell into a deep sleep, cursed by Malgatha's dark magic. The people of Aleria were desperate and lost without their queen. In a small village on the outskirts of the kingdom lived a young girl named Arya. Arya was known for her courage and her unwavering belief in the goodness of people. She had always dreamed of meeting Queen Seraphina and Zephyra, the legendary dragon. When she heard of the queen's plight, she knew she had to do something. Determined to save her kingdom, Arya set off on a journey to find Zephyra. She traveled through the dying forests and across the barren fields until she reached the Dragon's Peak, where Zephyra resided. The climb was steep and treacherous, but Arya's determination never wavered. At the peak, she found Zephyra, her scales shimmering like emeralds in the moonlight. The dragon's eyes, filled with ancient wisdom, looked down at Arya. "Why have you come, brave one?" Zephyra asked, her voice resonating with power. "Great Zephyra, I seek your help to save our queen and restore the heart of Aleria," Arya replied, bowing deeply. Zephyra studied Arya for a moment. "Your heart is pure, and your intentions are noble. I will help you, but the journey will be dangerous. Malgath has hidden the heart of Aleria in the dark forest, guarded by his minions. You must retrieve it and break the curse." Arya nodded, her resolve unwavering. Zephyra breathed a plume of sparkling mist, enveloping Arya. "This mist will protect you from Malgatha's dark magic," Zephyra said. "Go now, and may courage guide your path." With Zephyra's blessing, Arya ventured into the dark forest. The trees were twisted and gnarled, and the air was thick with an eerie silence. She encountered many challenges, from deceptive illusions to fierce creatures, but the protective mist shielded her from harm. At the heart of the forest, she found Malgatha's lair. The sorcerer, cloaked in darkness, stood guard over the heart of Aleria. "Foolish girl," he sneered. "You think you can defeat me?" Arya stood tall, her voice steady. "I do not fear you, Malgath. I fight for Aleria and our queen." Malgath laughed, sending waves of dark magic towards her. But Zephyra's mist shielded Arya, allowing her to move forward. With a swift motion, she snatched the heart of Aleria from its pedestal. The amulet glowed brightly, and Malgatha's power began to wane. "No!" Malgath roared, but it was too late. The heart of Aleria's magic, reawakened by Arya's pure heart, repelled him. Defeated, the sorcerer vanished into the shadows. With the heart of Aleria in hand, Arya raced back to the kingdom. As she approached the palace, the land began to heal. Rivers flowed once more, flowers bloomed, and the air was filled with the songs of birds. She entered the queen's chamber and placed the amulet around Queen Seraphina's neck. The queen awoke, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, brave Arya," Queen Seraphina said. "You have saved Aleria and restored hope to our people." Zephyra appeared beside them, her eyes full of pride. "Arya, your courage and purity have brought light back to our land. You are a true hero." The people of Aleria rejoiced, celebrating Arya's bravery and the return of their queen. Peace and prosperity were restored, and the legend of Arya's courage spread far and wide. She became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to believe in the power of a pure heart. And so, Aleria thrived once more, forever grateful to the young girl who saved their kingdom with her courage and love. The end. Once upon a time, in a land where rolling green hills met endless blue skies, there lay a hidden valley known as Etheria. This valley was famous for its sparkling streams, blooming meadows, and ancient trees that whispered secrets of old. At the heart of Etheria stood a grand castle, its towers piercing the sky, where the royal family had lived for centuries. The castle was not just any castle, it was enchanted and protected by a mysterious key that had been lost for generations. The story of the key was known to all. It was said that whoever possessed the key could unlock the castle's most powerful magic, capable of bringing prosperity and happiness to the entire land. But as time went on, the key vanished, and the magic of the castle faded, leaving the kingdom in a period of uneasy calm. In the village of Elder Tide, just beyond the castle's borders, lived a young girl named Arya. She was known for her curious mind and kind heart, often helping villagers with their troubles and exploring the forests and streams of Etheria. One day, while wandering near an old, overgrown well at the edge of the forest, Arya stumbled upon a hidden door covered in ivy. Intrigued, she brushed aside the vines and discovered an ornate, ancient keyhole embedded in the door. As she examined the keyhole, a small, faded map fell from the doorframe and fluttered to the ground. It was marked with strange symbols and an image of the castle, showing a hidden chamber that Arya had never seen before. Her heart raced with excitement. Could this be a clue to the missing key? Determined to solve the mystery, Arya set out on a journey. Following the map's directions, she ventured deep into the forest, across babbling brooks, and over misty hills. The map led her to a series of enchanted landmarks, a glowing pond, a tree with silver leaves, and a field of golden flowers that seemed to whisper her name. At the final landmark, Arya found herself before a towering stone archway covered in luminous runes. The archway was adorned with intricate carvings of mythical creatures and ancient symbols. Arya noticed a small indentation in the archway that seemed to match the shape of a key. As she touched the indentation, the runes began to glow, and a hidden compartment slowly revealed itself. Inside the compartment was a beautiful, old-fashioned key, encrusted with gemstones and shimmering with a soft, golden light. Arya's eyes widened with awe. This must be the lost enchanted key. With the key in hand, Arya hurried back to the castle. She approached the grand entrance and inserted the key into the lock. To her amazement, the castle's doors creaked open, revealing a breathtaking hall filled with ancient tapestries and glowing chandeliers. At the end of the hall stood a large, ornate door. Arya approached it, her heart pounding with anticipation. She inserted the enchanted key into the door's lock and turned it slowly. As the door swung open, a wave of warm, golden light poured out, filling the hall with a gentle glow. Inside the chamber, Arya discovered a magnificent throne room with a crystal-clear pool at its center. The pool reflected the entire sky, and its waters sparkled with countless colors. In the center of the pool floated a small, glowing orb, a magical artifact that seemed to pulse with life. As Arya reached out to touch the orb, the room was filled with a soothing melody, and the magical energies began to flow through the castle once more. The enchantments that had faded over the years were rekindled, and the castle's magic spread throughout the land. The once dormant forests and fields began to bloom with new life, and the stream sparkled with renewed vigor. Arya returned to the village, where the villagers greeted her with cheers and wonder. The kingdom of Etheria had been restored to its former glory, and prosperity returned to every corner of the land. The enchanted key had been found and its magic renewed, thanks to Arya's bravery and curiosity. The legend of the enchanted key and the girl who had restored its magic became a cherished tale in Etheria. Arya was celebrated as a heroine, and her story was passed down through generations as a reminder that even the smallest of discoveries could unlock the greatest of wonders. And so, the kingdom flourished, the enchanted castle stood tall and vibrant, and Arya lived out her days with a heart full of adventure and joy, knowing that she had played a part in bringing magic back to the land. In a faraway kingdom, where the skies were always clear and the nights were filled with the soft glow of moonlight, there lived a young prince named Orion. Orion was beloved by all in the kingdom, not only for his bravery and kindness but also for his deep connection with the night sky. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Orion would climb the tallest tower of the castle and speak to the stars. The stars, in turn, loved Orion. They would twinkle brighter when he spoke to them, and the moon herself would cast a silver beam of light directly onto him, as if in blessing. Orion's favorite time was when the moon was full, and her light illuminated the entire kingdom in a magical glow. But one night, something strange happened. As the full moon rose in the sky, Orion noticed that her light was dimmer than usual. The moonbeam that always shone down on him was weak, barely visible. Concerned, Orion climbed to the top of the tower and called out to the moon. "Dear moon, why do you shine so faintly tonight? Has something troubled you?" To his surprise, the moon responded with a sorrowful voice. "Oh, Prince Orion, I am in great distress. One of my brightest moonbeams has gone missing. Without it, I cannot light up the night as I once did. The world will be darker, and the night less comforting." Orion's heart ached for the moon. He could not bear the thought of the nights becoming gloomy and cold. "I will find your lost moonbeam, dear moon. Tell me where I should start my search." The moon sighed, her light flickering slightly. "The last time I saw my moonbeam, it was playing among the clouds. It may have drifted down to the earth, caught by the wind. Please, Orion, find it before the night ends." Without a moment's hesitation, Orion set off on his quest. He took with him a small lantern filled with stardust, a gift from the stars, to light his way. He knew the stardust would guide him to anything connected to the sky. Orion traveled through the kingdom, following the faint glow of his lantern. He ventured into the whispering woods, where the trees murmured secrets to one another. There, he met an old owl who was wise in the ways of the night. "Good evening, Prince Orion," the owl hooted softly. "What brings you to the heart of the woods at this hour?" Orion explained his mission, and the owl's eyes gleamed with understanding. "I saw a strange light drift through the trees earlier. It was heading towards the Crystal Lake. You might find your lost moonbeam there." Thanking the owl, Orion continued his journey to the Crystal Lake. The lake was known for its mirror-like surface, reflecting the night sky so perfectly that it was said to be a portal to the heavens. As Orion approached, he saw the reflection of the moon on the water, but something was odd: the reflection was incomplete. Orion knelt by the lake, his lantern glowing brighter as he drew closer to the water. Suddenly, he saw it, a small, trembling beam of light trapped beneath the surface of the lake. The moonbeam had fallen into the water and couldn't find its way back to the sky. "Don't worry, little moonbeam," Orion whispered gently. "I'll help you return to where you belong." But how could he free the moonbeam? As he pondered, the stars above twinkled more intensely, and Orion had an idea. He took out the pouch of stardust he carried and sprinkled some into the lake. The stardust sparkled as it touched the water, forming a shimmering path leading from the lake's surface to the sky. The moonbeam, seeing the path, began to rise, following the trail of stardust. Slowly, it lifted itself out of the water, shining brighter and brighter as it ascended. Orion watched in awe as the moonbeam soared upwards, reuniting with the moon. As soon as the moonbeam returned to the moon, her light flooded the night with a brilliance that Orion had never seen before. The kingdom was bathed in the moon's radiant glow, and the stars danced joyfully in the sky. "Thank you, Orion," the moon said, her voice filled with gratitude. "Because of your kindness and courage, my light can once again shine brightly. You have not only restored my moonbeam but also brought even more light into the world." Orion smiled, his heart swelling with happiness. "It was an honor, dear moon. The night is a place of comfort and wonder, and I am glad I could help preserve its beauty." As a token of her gratitude, the moon granted Orion a special gift. Every night thereafter, a moonbeam would descend from the sky to keep him company, a reminder of his bravery and the bond he shared with the night. And so, the kingdom flourished under the moon's radiant light, with Orion as its protector. The nights were no longer just a time of rest but a time of magic, where the stars whispered stories, and the moon shone brightly for all to see. And as for Orion, he continued to climb the tallest tower each evening, not just to speak to the stars but to keep watch over the night, ensuring that its magic would never fade. The end. Once upon a time, in a hidden valley embraced by towering mountains and lush forests, there was a charming village named Willowbrook. The village was renowned for its beautiful meadows and sparkling streams, but its greatest treasure was an ancient oak tree at its center, known as the Elder Oak. This tree was said to be the keeper of an ancient magic, but few knew what that magic truly was. Among the villagers was a kind-hearted girl named Elara. Elara lived with her grandmother, who had always told her stories of the Elder Oak and its magical powers. One day, as her grandmother lay ill, she entrusted Elara with a delicate, silver pendant that had been passed down through their family for generations. This pendant, her grandmother said, her voice weak but full of warmth, has always been linked to the elder oak. I believe it holds the key to healing and hope. Take it to the tree and see if it can help. Elara took the pendant and promised to do everything she could. She made her way to the elder oak, her heart filled with both hope and apprehension. As she approached the ancient tree, she felt a gentle, comforting breeze, as if the tree was welcoming her. The elder oak stood majestic and serene, its branches stretching high into the sky and its roots deep in the earth. Elara approached the tree and gently placed the pendant against its trunk. As soon as the pendant touched the tree, a soft, golden glow began to emanate from it. Suddenly, a warm, melodic voice spoke from the tree. "Welcome, Elara. I am the guardian of this ancient magic. The pendant you carry is a key to a powerful enchantment that can bring healing and renewal." Elara was amazed but also anxious. "How can I use this magic to help my grandmother?" The elder oak responded, "To unlock the pendant's power, you must embark on a quest to find 3 magical artifacts hidden in the enchanted forest. These artifacts will restore the pendant's full magic, allowing it to heal." With a determined heart, Elara set off into the enchanted forest. The forest was filled with wonders and mysteries, glowing flowers, whispering streams, and trees that seemed to hum with ancient songs. As she ventured deeper, she encountered a friendly fox with shimmering fur. "I can help you find the artifacts," the fox said with a mischievous twinkle in its eye. "Follow me, and we shall embark on this adventure together." The first artifact was a golden feather, said to be the gift of the mythical phoenix. The fox led Elara to a hidden glen where a majestic phoenix perched on a branch, its feathers glowing like the sun. To earn the feather, the phoenix said, "You must solve a riddle. What is both a friend and a guide, shining brightly in the night sky?" Elara thought for a moment and then answered, "The stars." The phoenix smiled and gracefully plucked a golden feather from its plumage, handing it to Elara. "You have answered correctly. This feather will aid you on your journey." Elara and the fox continued their quest, reaching a serene lake where the second artifact, a crystal vial filled with moonlight, was said to be hidden. As Elara approached the lake, she saw a graceful water nymph floating above the surface. To receive the vial, the nymph said, "You must show kindness to the creatures of the lake." Elara noticed a small fish tangled in some reeds and carefully freed it. The nymph, pleased with her compassion, handed over the crystal vial. "You have shown true kindness. This vial will bring you closer to your goal." With 2 artifacts secured, Elara and the fox set out to find the final artifact, a silver harp hidden within a grove of ancient trees. The harp was guarded by a wise old elf with twinkling eyes and a friendly smile. To obtain the harp, the elf said, "You must play a tune that echoes the music of your heart." Elara took a deep breath and played a melody on the harp that was both soothing and heartfelt. The elf, touched by the beauty of her music, gave her the silver harp. "Your music has unlocked the final artifact. Use it wisely." With all 3 artifacts in hand, Elara returned to the elder oak. The tree's golden glow intensified as Elara placed the golden feather, the crystal vial, and the silver harp at its base. She then carefully attached the pendant to the tree, and a brilliant light enveloped the elder oak. The light spread through the village, reaching Elara's grandmother. As the magic touched her, she awoke with renewed strength and vitality. The entire village rejoiced at the miracle, and Elara felt a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. The elder oak spoke once more, its voice filled with gratitude. "You have restored the pendant's magic and healed your grandmother. Remember, true magic lies in the kindness and bravery of your heart." Elara returned home, her grandmother healthy and the village flourishing. The pendant continued to shine with a soft, reassuring glow, a symbol of the magic that lived in every act of courage and love. And so, the tale of Elara and the enchanted pendant became a cherished story in Willowbrook. A reminder of the power of magic and the strength found in a heart full of hope. Once upon a time, in the picturesque kingdom of Evergreen, there was a hidden sanctuary known as the Glimmering Grove. This grove was famous for its radiant, moonlit flowers in the Heartstone, a magical gem said to grant one wish to those who approached it with a heart full of love and kindness. The Heartstone was concealed deep within the grove and was only revealed during the night of stars, when the sky was filled with shimmering constellations. In a cozy cottage on the edge of Evergreen lived a gentle and imaginative girl named Amelia. Amelia was beloved in her village for her kindness and her love of animals. Her best friend was a curious and clever rabbit named Thistle, who was known for his quick thinking and ability to find hidden paths. One evening, as the night of stars approached, Amelia and Thistle discovered a beautifully crafted, silver locket buried beneath a flowering vine in their garden. Inside the locket was a sparkling, crystal key in a note that read, "The Glimmering Grove awaits. Use this key on the night of stars to unlock the Heartstone's magic." Excited by the prospect of finding the Heartstone and making a wish, Amelia and Thistle set out on their journey under the starlit sky. The path to the Glimmering Grove was bathed in the soft light of the stars, guiding them deeper into the forest. As they entered the grove, they were greeted by the magical beauty of the moonlit flowers and the soothing sound of a gentle breeze. However, the path to the Heartstone was guarded by 3 enchanting challenges. The first challenge was the Bridge of Lanterns. This was a bridge made of glowing lanterns that floated above a sparkling river. The lanterns shifted and changed color, and they needed to follow the correct sequence to cross the bridge. Thistle used his sharp eyes to observe the patterns of the lanterns, while Amelia carefully followed his directions. They made their way across the bridge, which shimmered brightly as they stepped on the correct lanterns. On the other side of the river, they faced the second challenge, the Labyrinth of Echoes. They entered a maze of tall, whispering hedges that seemed to change direction as they moved. To find their way out, they needed to listen carefully to the whispers and follow the correct echoes. Amelia and Thistle worked together, with Thistle's keen ears guiding them through the maze. After navigating the twists and turns, they emerged into a serene glade where the Heartstone stood, glowing softly in the moonlight. The final challenge was the riddle of the Heartstone. At the center of the glade stood the Heartstone, surrounded by a ring of glowing flowers. To make their wish, they needed to solve a riddle spoken by the Heartstone itself. "I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water can be my friend. What am I?" Amelia thought deeply about the riddle and then answered with a smile, "A flame." The Heartstone's light grew brighter, and a soft, warm glow enveloped them. Amelia and Thistle approached the Heartstone, and Amelia spoke her wish from the heart, "I wish for the happiness and prosperity of everyone in Evergreen. I want to see our village and our land thrive with joy and peace." As Amelia's wish was spoken, the Heartstone's glow expanded, and the magic of the gem spread throughout the Glimmering Grove and beyond. The stars in the sky twinkled more brightly, and a gentle breeze carried the Heartstone's magic across the kingdom. When Amelia and Thistle returned to Evergreen, they found their village transformed. The fields were lush and green, the animals were healthy and joyful, and the people were filled with a deep sense of contentment and harmony. The tale of Amelia and Thistle's adventure and the magic of the Glimmering Grove became a cherished story in Evergreen, reminding everyone of the power of love, kindness, and selfless wishes. And so, the Glimmering Grove remained a place of wonder and enchantment, where dreams and wishes came to life under the light of the stars. The end. Once upon a time, in a village nestled between rolling hills and dense, whispering forests, there was a garden unlike any other. This garden was said to be enchanted, hidden away behind a tall, ivy-covered gate that no one had opened for generations. It was known only through the tales told by the village's elders, who spoke of flowers that sang lullabies and trees that told stories. The village was small and charming, but life there had grown a little dull. The villagers worked hard, tended to their fields, and cared for their animals, but the magic and wonder that once filled their lives had faded into memory. The only one who still believed in the tales of the enchanted garden was a little girl named Lila. Lila was curious and adventurous, with a heart full of dreams and a mind full of questions. Every evening, she would sit by the gate and imagine what lay beyond it. She imagined flowers that shimmered like stars and trees that whispered secrets of faraway lands. One summer's day, as the sun began to set and the sky turned into a canvas of orange and pink. Lila noticed something peculiar. The gate, which had always been locked tight, was now slightly ajar. Her heart raced with excitement as she pushed the gate open just enough to squeeze through. On the other side, Lila found herself in a garden that seemed to glow with an ethereal light. The flowers were indeed like stars, their petals radiating soft, shimmering colors. The trees were tall and majestic, their leaves rustling with the gentle hum of ancient psalms. The air was filled with the scent of blooming roses and the sound of melodies that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. As Lila wandered deeper into the garden, she heard a soft voice singing a lullaby. She followed the sound and came upon a small, clear pond. Floating above the pond was a tiny, shimmering figure, a fairy with delicate wings that sparkled like dew in the morning sun. The fairy was singing to the water lilies, which were swaying in rhythm with the melody. "Hello," Lila said softly, not wanting to startle the fairy. The fairy looked up with a twinkle in her eye. "Hello, little one. I am Lyra, the guardian of this garden. Few have ventured here in many years." Lila's eyes widened with wonder. "Is it really true? Do the flowers sing and the trees talk?" Lyra smiled and nodded. "Yes, indeed. This garden is a place of magic and dreams. It reflects the beauty and wonder of the world. But it is also a place that needs to be protected. Only those with a pure heart and a sense of wonder may enter." Lila's face lit up with a smile. "I've always believed in magic. I've dreamed of seeing this garden with my own eyes." Lyra's eyes softened. "Then you are truly welcome here. But before you go, there is something I must show you." With a wave of her tiny hand, Lyra led Lila to a large, ancient tree at the center of the garden. Its trunk was wide, and its branches reached up like arms toward the sky. At the base of the tree was a small door, intricately carved with symbols of stars and moons. "This is the Tree of Wishes," Lyra explained. "It holds the power to grant one true wish to someone with a heart full of dreams." Lila gazed at the tree in awe. "I don't know what to wish for. There are so many things I could ask for." Lyra nodded. "Think carefully, for your wish must come from the heart and reflect the true nature of what you desire most." Lila thought long and hard. She thought about her village and how the magic and wonder seemed to be missing from their lives. She thought about how much she wanted to share the beauty of the garden with her family and friends. Finally, she closed her eyes and made her wish. "I wish for the magic of this garden to bring joy and wonder to my village, so that everyone can feel the same happiness and wonder I feel now." The Tree of Wishes glowed softly as Lila spoke her wish. The leaves rustled, and the air seemed to hum with a gentle energy. Lyra smiled warmly at Lila. "Your wish is a beautiful one," Lyra said. "It is granted. The magic of the garden will now touch the hearts of your village." As Lila turned to leave, the garden seemed to embrace her with a warm, glowing light. She stepped back through the gate, which closed gently behind her, leaving her with a sense of peace and fulfillment. In the days that followed, the village began to change in wonderful ways. The fields flourished with vibrant flowers, the animals seemed to sing with joy, and the villagers found themselves smiling and laughing more than they had in years. The magic of the enchanted garden had spread its wonder to their lives, and the village was once again filled with the beauty and joy that Lila had wished for. And as for Lila, she never stopped believing in magic. She knew that it was not just in gardens or fairies, but in the dreams and kindness that lived in every heart. And so, the village thrived, always remembering the girl who believed in magic and made a wish for the happiness of others. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in the peaceful kingdom of Leora, there was a magical forest known as the Enchanted Grove. This forest was famous for its ancient trees that sparkled with silver leaves and the legendary Silver Star, a magical star that granted one wish to those who found it with a heart full of hope and courage. The Silver Star was hidden deep within the forest and could only be revealed on the night of the silver moon, when the moonlight turned the world into a shimmering wonderland. In a charming village at the edge of the forest lived a kind-hearted and adventurous girl named Arya. Arya was known for her bravery and her love of nature. Her best friend was a playful and clever fox named Finn, who had a knack for finding hidden paths and solving puzzles. One evening, as the night of the silver moon approached, Arya and Finn discovered an old, beautifully decorated compass buried under a bed of moss in their garden. The compass had intricate silver engravings and a note that read, "The Enchanted Grove awaits. Follow the compass on the night of the silver moon to find the silver star." Excited by the prospect of finding the silver star and making a wish, Arya and Finn set out on their journey. The path to the enchanted grove was illuminated by the soft, silver light of the moon and the gentle glow of fireflies. As they entered the forest, they were greeted by the enchanting beauty of the moonlit trees and the soothing sounds of the night. However, the path to the silver star was guarded by 3 magical challenges. The first challenge was the crystal clearing. This was a magical clearing filled with shimmering crystals that reflected the moonlight in dazzling patterns. To pass through, they needed to arrange the crystals in a specific pattern that would reveal the correct path. Finn used his sharp eyes to study the patterns of the crystals, while Arya carefully followed his directions. They arranged the crystals according to the patterns and a hidden pathway was revealed, leading them deeper into the forest. The second challenge was the River of Dreams. This river flowed with sparkling, silver water and was lined with glowing lilies. To cross the river, they needed to solve a riddle spoken by the river's guardian, a graceful, shimmering water spirit. "I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Arya thought for a moment and then answered, "A joke." The water spirit's smile illuminated the river, and a bridge of glowing lilies appeared, allowing them to cross safely. The final challenge was the Maze of Moonlight. In this maze, the walls were lined with silver vines that seemed to shift and change direction. To find their way out, they needed to follow the moonlight that shone through gaps in the vines. With Finn's keen sense of direction and Arya's careful observation, they navigated through the maze and emerged into a serene glade where the silver star awaited. At the center of the glade, bathed in the magical light of the silver moon, floated the silver star, its light shimmering softly. To make their wish, Arya needed to speak her wish aloud with sincerity. Arya approached the silver star and spoke from her heart, "I wish for the happiness and prosperity of everyone in Leora. I want to see our village and our land thrive with joy and peace." As Arya's wish was spoken, the silver star's light expanded, and a soft, magical glow spread throughout the enchanted grove and beyond. The moonlight seemed to shine even brighter, and the magic of the silver star touched every corner of Leora, bringing joy and prosperity to all. When Arya and Finn returned to their village, they found it transformed. The fields were lush with crops, the animals were healthy and joyful, and the people were filled with a deep sense of contentment and harmony. The story of Arya and Finn's adventure in the magic of the silver star became a cherished tale in Leora, reminding everyone of the power of hope, courage, and the magic that lies within their hearts. And so, the Enchanted Grove remained a place of wonder and enchantment, where dreams and wishes came to life under the light of the silver moon. The end. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Bramblebrook, there was a humble clockmaker named Eamon. Eamon was known for his skill in crafting the finest timepieces, each clock meticulously made with gears that turned in perfect harmony. His shop, nestled at the corner of a cobblestone street, was filled with clocks of all shapes and sizes, their ticking creating a soothing melody that filled the air. Despite his talent, Eamon led a quiet and solitary life. His only companion was a small, wooden bird perched on the windowsill of his workshop. The bird, a silver sparrow carved by Eamon himself, was his pride and joy. Though the bird was only made of wood and silver, Eamon often found himself talking to it as if it were alive. He would wind it up each morning, and the sparrow would chirp a sweet, mechanical tune. One chilly autumn evening, as Eamon was closing his shop, he noticed a peculiar shimmer in the air. He followed the glimmer to the edge of town, where he found an old, crumbling well hidden beneath a tangle of vines. As he peered into the well, he saw something glinting at the bottom, a small, glowing key. curiosity getting the better of him, Aemon carefully retrieved the key from the well. It was unlike any key he had ever seen, with intricate designs etched into its surface and a soft, warm glow emanating from it. He turned it over in his hands, wondering what it could unlock. That night, Aemon placed the key on his workbench and went to bed, his thoughts filled with the mystery of the strange find. As he slept, a soft, silver light filled his workshop, and the silver sparrow began to stir. The tiny bird stretched its wings and fluttered off the windowsill, its eyes now glowing with life. The key, too, began to glow brighter, as if in response to the sparrow's awakening. The next morning, Aemon awoke to the sound of soft chirping. Rubbing his eyes, he was astonished to see the silver sparrow flitting about his workshop, its wings moving gracefully as if it were a living creature. The little bird landed on his shoulder and chirped a cheerful tune, as if greeting him. Aemon could hardly believe his eyes. You're alive," he exclaimed, reaching out to gently stroke the sparrow's silver feathers. The bird nuzzled against his hand, its eyes filled with warmth and affection. Realizing that the key must have something to do with this magical transformation, Aemon picked it up and examined it once more. The sparrow chirped excitedly, as if urging him to follow. Trusting the bird, Aemon slipped the key into his pocket and set out on a journey, the sparrow perched on his shoulder. The sparrow led Aemon deep into the heart of the Whispering Woods, a forest known for its ancient trees and hidden secrets. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the trees began to part, revealing a hidden path that glowed with the same soft light as the key. After hours of walking, they arrived at a large, ornate gate made of silver and gold, overgrown with ivy and moss. The gate was adorned with carvings of birds, flowers, and stars, and at its center was a keyhole that matched the size and shape of the glowing key. With a sense of anticipation, Aemon inserted the key into the gate and turned it. The gate creaked open, revealing a magnificent garden bathed in silver light. The garden was filled with vibrant flowers, sparkling fountains, and trees that glistened with dew that shimmered like diamonds. In the center of the garden stood a grand clock tower, its face glowing with the same magical light. The silver sparrow flew ahead, leading Aemon to the base of the clock tower. As they approached, the clock tower chimed, its sound resonating through the air like a melody of bells. Aemon noticed an inscription on the base of the tower. "To those who find the key and the heart of the silver sparrow, the gift of time shall be yours, and the forgotten shall be remembered." Suddenly, the sparrow flew into the clock tower, and as it did, the entire garden began to glow even brighter. The flowers bloomed in vibrant colors, the fountains bubbled with fresh, sparkling water, and the trees rustled with a gentle breeze. The garden, once forgotten, was now alive with magic. Aemon felt a warmth in his heart as he realized the true meaning of the inscription. The silver sparrow, born from his love and care, had guided him to this enchanted place where time itself was cherished and preserved. In return, the garden had granted him a gift of time, not just for himself, but for the memories of those who had been forgotten. From that day on, Aemon's clocks no longer merely told time. They became magical instruments that captured moments and memories, preserving them in a way that kept them alive forever. The people of Bramblebrook soon noticed that their lives felt fuller, their memories more vivid, and their hearts lighter, all thanks to the clocks crafted by Aemon's skilled hands. As for the silver sparrow, it remained in the garden, watching over the clock tower and the magical land within. Aemon would visit often, bringing with him new stories, new memories, and new love, which the garden would preserve for all eternity. And so, Aemon's story spread far and wide, reminding everyone that time is not just measured by hours and minutes, but by the love and memories we create. The tale of the silver sparrow and the enchanted garden became a cherished legend, passed down through generations, ensuring that the forgotten would always be remembered. The end. Once upon a time, in the tranquil kingdom of Mistwood, there was a magical lake known as the Crystal Lake. This lake was famous for its clear, shimmering waters that reflected the sky like a giant, enchanted mirror. The legend said that every 100 years, on the night of the great harvest moon, the lake would reveal a hidden treasure to those with a pure heart and a brave spirit. In the nearby village of Willowbend, there lived a kind-hearted boy named Elias. Elias was known for his generosity and curiosity. He often helped his neighbors and loved exploring the forest around Mistwood. His loyal companion was a clever little fox named Thistle, who had a keen sense for finding hidden things and was always up for an adventure. One autumn evening, as the great harvest moon began to rise, Elias and Thistle decided to visit the Crystal Lake. The night was crisp and clear, with the moon casting a silvery glow across the landscape. As they reached the edge of the lake, they noticed an old, ornate scroll tied to a nearby tree. The scroll read, "To find the hidden treasure of the Crystal Lake, you must complete 3 trials. Only those with a brave heart and a kind spirit will succeed." Excited and determined, Elias and Thistle prepared for the first trial, the trial of the Echoing Woods. They entered the nearby forest, where the trees seemed to whisper secrets and the path was obscured by a thick fog. As they ventured deeper into the forest, Elias and Thistle found themselves surrounded by mysterious echoes that confused their sense of direction. To find the correct path, Elias realized they needed to listen to the echoes carefully and follow the sound that seemed most sincere and comforting. With Thistle's sharp ears and Elias's attentive listening, they navigated through the forest, following the echoes that guided them gently. Eventually, they emerged from the fog and reached a clearing with a beautiful, ancient oak tree. The tree's branches swayed gently, and a soft glow emanated from its trunk, signaling the completion of the first trial. The second trial was the trial of the shimmering stones. They arrived at the shore of the Crystal Lake, where the water sparkled under the moonlight. Scattered across the lake's surface were floating stones that glowed with different colors. To reveal the hidden treasure, they needed to arrange the stones in the correct sequence. Elias and Thistle carefully observed the glowing stones and noticed a pattern in their colors. They worked together to arrange the stones into a sequence that matched the constellations visible in the night sky. As they placed the last stone in the correct position, the lake's surface shimmered with a dazzling light, indicating the success of the second trial. The final trial was the trial of the Heart's Wish. They were led to a small, secluded island in the middle of the lake, where a single, ancient chest lay beneath a grand willow tree. To open the chest, Elias needed to make a wish from the heart. Elias sat by the chest and closed his eyes, reflecting on his deepest desires. With Thistle by his side, he made his wish: "I wish for the happiness and prosperity of my village, so that everyone may thrive and live in harmony." As Elias spoke his wish, the chest slowly opened, revealing a glowing, crystal orb. The orb radiated a warm, golden light that spread across the lake, illuminating the night sky with a gentle, enchanting glow. The magic of the orb touched the entire kingdom of Mistwood, bringing prosperity and joy to all its inhabitants. Elias and Thistle returned to Willowbend, where they were greeted with celebration and gratitude. The story of their adventure and the magic of the Crystal Lake became a cherished tale, passed down through generations. And so, the Crystal Lake continued to be a place of wonder and magic, where the reflections of the moon and the wishes of pure hearts created a legacy of enchantment and joy. The end. Once upon a time, in the heart of the verdant kingdom of Evergreen, there was a mystical forest known as the Whispering Woods. This enchanted forest was renowned for its ancient trees that could speak in hushed tones and the shimmering fireflies glade, where dreams and wishes came alive. At the center of the forest stood the Lumina tree, a grand, glowing tree with branches that sparkled like stars. Legend had it that the Lumina tree could grant a single wish to anyone who proved themselves worthy. In the nearby village of Briarfield lived a curious and kind-hearted boy named Finn. Finn was known for his adventurous spirit and his love of nature. His closest friend was a spirited, chatty bluebird named Lila, who had an uncanny ability to find hidden paths and uncover secrets. One misty morning, Finn and Lila discovered an old, weathered map tucked away in a hidden corner of the village library. The map depicted the way to the Whispering Woods and promised that the Lumina tree would reveal itself during the night of dreams, when the stars aligned perfectly with the moon. Eager to see the Lumina tree and make a wish, Finn and Lila set out on their journey as the sun began to set. The path to the Whispering Woods was illuminated by the soft, silvery light of the rising moon, and the air was filled with the gentle rustle of leaves and the faint, melodic hum of the forest. As they entered the Whispering Woods, they were greeted by the ancient trees, whose branches swayed as if whispering secrets to one another. The trees guided them to a series of challenges that needed to be overcome before they could reach the Lumina tree. The first challenge was the Trial of Echoes. They arrived at a clearing where the trees formed a circle, and in the center stood a large, intricate mirror. The mirror was covered with cryptic symbols that glowed softly. To pass this trial, they had to decipher the symbols and reveal the path forward. Lila perched on Finn's shoulder and helped him decipher the symbols, which formed a series of constellations. As Finn aligned the symbols according to the constellations, the mirror's surface shimmered and revealed a hidden path leading deeper into the forest. The second challenge was the Trial of Harmony. They entered a grove where glowing fireflies danced in intricate patterns, creating a mesmerizing display of light. To continue, Finn and Lila needed to create their own pattern of light using a special lantern they found along the way. Finn carefully followed the fireflies' movements, while Lila guided him with her cheerful chirps. Together, they recreated the fireflies' patterns with the lantern, which caused the fireflies to form a radiant archway that led them to the next trial. The final challenge was the Trial of the Heart's Desire. They found themselves in a serene glade where the Lumina tree stood majestically, its branches glowing with a soft, golden light. To make their wish, they needed to show what their hearts truly desired. Finn and Lila reflected on their journey and realized that their deepest wish was not for personal gain, but for the well-being and happiness of their village and its people. They stepped forward and spoke their wish aloud. "We wish for the prosperity and joy of Briarfield, so that everyone may live in harmony and happiness." As they spoke their wish, the Lumina tree's branches glowed even brighter, and a gentle, warm light enveloped the forest. The magic of the tree spread throughout the whispering woods and beyond, touching the hearts of everyone in Briarfield. Finn and Lila returned to their village to find it transformed. The fields were lush, the stream sparkled with crystal-clear water, and the people were filled with joy and gratitude. The story of their adventure in the magic of the Lumina tree became a cherished tale, reminding everyone of the power of selflessness and the beauty of true wishes. And so, the Whispering Woods continued to be a place of wonder and enchantment, where the magic of the Lumina tree inspired all who ventured into its depths with a pure heart. The end. Once upon a time, in a lush valley surrounded by misty mountains, there was a village called Elmswood. Elmswood was famous for its vibrant meadows, sparkling streams, and a mysterious lantern that hung at the edge of the village. This lantern, known as the Enchanted Lantern, was said to hold magical powers that could bring prosperity and joy to the village. The lantern had been a cherished symbol for generations, but one fateful autumn night, its light began to flicker and fade. The once brilliant glow was reduced to a dim, sputtering light, casting shadows over Elmswood. The villagers grew worried, for without the lantern's light, their crops began to wilt, and their spirits sank. Among the villagers was a courageous girl named Arya. She had always been fascinated by the lantern and its magic. Determined to restore its light, Arya decided to embark on a quest to find out what had caused the lantern's dimming and to save it. With a heart full of resolve, Arya packed a small bag with essentials and set off toward the enchanted forest, which was said to be the source of the lantern's magic. She was accompanied by her faithful friend, a clever and spirited squirrel named Nutmeg. As Arya and Nutmeg ventured into the forest, they were greeted by the enchanting sights and sounds of the woods. The trees whispered secrets, and the leaves rustled with a soft melody. They soon came across a wise old tree with bark like ancient scrolls. The tree spoke in a gentle, rumbling voice. To restore the enchanted lantern's light, you must seek out the 3 lost fragments of its magic: the feather of the phoenix, the tear of the moon, and the petal of the everbloom. Arya nodded and thanked the wise tree, setting out on her journey to find the first fragment, the feather of the phoenix. The phoenix was a mythical bird known for its brilliant feathers and fiery spirit. Arya followed the directions given by the wise tree, which led her to a high, sunlit cliff. There, perched on a branch, was the phoenix, its feathers shimmering like flames. The bird looked at Arya with wise, glowing eyes. To earn the feather of the phoenix, the bird said, "You must show true bravery." A sudden storm swept across the cliff, with howling winds and pouring rain. The phoenix's nest was in danger of being washed away. Without hesitation, Arya shielded the nest from the storm, using her cloak to protect the phoenix and its eggs. The phoenix, impressed by Arya's courage and selflessness, granted her a radiant feather. With the feather safely tucked away, Arya and Nutmeg continued their journey and soon reached a tranquil, moonlit lake. At the edge of the lake was a beautiful, silver-blue swan. The swan was known to hold the tear of the moon, which would appear only under the light of the full moon. Arya waited patiently by the lake, and as the moon reached its zenith, a single tear fell from the swan's eye and landed in the water. Arya carefully collected the tear in a small vial. The swan, moved by Arya's patience and respect for the moon's beauty, gave her the tear with a graceful nod. With 2 fragments of magic secured, Arya and Nutmeg ventured deeper into the forest, reaching a hidden garden that bloomed under the starlight. In the center of the garden stood a majestic flower known as the Everbloom. Its petals were said to glow with the light of 1,000 stars. As Arya approached, a mischievous pixie appeared, fluttering around the flower. To obtain a petal from the Everbloom, you must answer my question: what is the greatest gift of all? Arya thought for a moment and replied, "The greatest gift of all is love." The pixie smiled and, with a wave of her tiny wand, plucked a glowing petal from the Everbloom and handed it to Arya. "You have answered wisely," said the pixie. With all 3 fragments in hand, Arya and Nutmeg returned to Elmswood. The villagers gathered around the dim lantern, their faces hopeful. Arya carefully placed the feather of the phoenix, the tear of the moon, and the petal of the Everbloom into the lantern's base. The lantern began to glow brightly, its light intensifying until it illuminated the entire village. The crops began to flourish again, and the villagers' spirits were lifted. The lantern's magic had returned, bringing prosperity and joy back to Elmswood. Arya was celebrated as a heroine, and her bravery and kindness became a cherished story in the village. The enchanted lantern continued to shine brightly, a symbol of hope and magic for generations to come. And so, Elmswood thrived under the warm, radiant light of the enchanted lantern, living happily ever after. The Mirror of Echoes. Once upon a time, in a kingdom where the mountains touched the clouds and the rivers sparkled with stardust, there was a hidden realm known as Eldoria. Eldoria was famous for its mystical Mirror of Echoes, an enchanted mirror said to reveal not just one's reflection, but the true essence of one's heart and destiny. In Eldoria lived a kind-hearted young woman named Isolde. Isolde was known throughout the land for her wisdom and compassion. Despite her gentle nature, she felt that something important was missing in her life. She longed to discover her true purpose and the path she was meant to follow. The call of the mirror. One evening, as the full moon cast its silvery light over Eldoria, Isolde received a mysterious letter delivered by a shimmering white owl. The letter read, "To find your true path, seek the Mirror of Echoes in the Whispering Caves. There, you will discover the truth that lies within." Determined to uncover her destiny, Isolde set out for the Whispering Caves, a network of mystical caverns hidden deep within the enchanted forest. The journey was long and filled with magical creatures and ancient wonders, but Isolde's heart was steadfast. The Whispering Caves. As Isolde approached the entrance of the Whispering Caves, she was greeted by a gentle breeze that carried soft whispers. The whispers seemed to guide her deeper into the caverns, which glowed with a soft, bioluminescent light. The walls of the caves were adorned with sparkling crystals, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming nightshade flowers. Following the whispers, Isolde arrived at a grand chamber. At the center of the chamber stood the Mirror of Echoes, framed in gold and encrusted with precious gems. The mirror's surface shimmered like a calm, moonlit lake, reflecting not only the surroundings but also the emotions and thoughts of those who gazed into it. The revelation. Isolde approached the mirror with a mixture of awe and trepidation. As she looked into its surface, she saw her reflection transform into various scenes from her past and glimpses of her future. She saw herself helping others, guiding lost souls, and finding joy in simple acts of kindness. The mirror then showed her a vision of a troubled village on the brink of despair. In the vision, Isolde was seen helping the villagers, bringing hope and rebuilding their lives. The scenes revealed her true destiny, to be a beacon of light and support for those in need. the Mirror of Echoes spoke in a gentle, resonant voice, Isolde, your heart is pure and your intentions noble. Your purpose is to bring hope and healing wherever you go. Embrace this truth and let your light shine. The journey of fulfillment with a newfound sense of purpose, Isolde left the Whispering Caves and returned to Eldoria. She dedicated herself to helping those in need, traveling far and wide to offer support and kindness. Her presence became a source of hope and inspiration for many. Isolde's journey took her to distant lands, where she used her wisdom and compassion to resolve conflicts, heal broken hearts, and uplift communities. Her acts of kindness and generosity transformed many lives and earned her the title of the Heart of Eldoria. The legacy years later, Eldoria thrived as a land of peace and prosperity, all thanks to Isolde's unwavering dedication and love. The Mirror of Echoes remained in the Whispering Caves, a symbol of the wisdom and guidance it had bestowed upon Isolde. The story of Isolde and the Mirror of Echoes was passed down through generations, inspiring countless souls to follow their hearts and embrace their true purpose. Eldoria continued to shine brightly, forever blessed by the courage and compassion of one extraordinary woman. And so, the kingdom of Eldoria remained a beacon of hope and light, guided by the legacy of Isolde and the magical mirror that revealed the truth within. Once upon a time, in a land where rolling meadows met ancient forests, there was a small village known as Stardust Hollow. The village was famous for its clear, night skies filled with twinkling stars, and every child was told stories of the Star Tree, a magical tree that bore the brightest star once every 100 years. According to legend, whoever found and made a wish upon the Star Tree's luminous star would have their deepest wish granted. However, the Star Tree was hidden deep within the enchanted forest, a place where magical creatures roamed and the paths were ever-changing. In Stardust Hollow lived a brave and curious girl named Lila. Lila had always dreamed of seeing the Star Tree and making a wish for her village, which had been struggling with a long drought. She believed that the magic of the Star Tree could bring the rain they so desperately needed. One clear night, as the stars sparkled overhead, Lila decided it was time to embark on the quest. She packed a small satchel with essentials, a map of the forest, a lantern, a few snacks, and a special locket that had been passed down in her family for generations. The locket was said to hold a piece of stardust, a gift from her grandmother who had once wished for hope and joy. With a determined heart, Lila set off towards the enchanted forest. As she entered the forest, the trees seemed to whisper and the path ahead glowed faintly with moonlight. Lila used the map and her locket to guide her, but the forest was full of surprises. After walking for hours, Lila encountered a mischievous squirrel who was busy collecting acorns. The squirrel chattered excitedly and said, "To find the Star Tree, you must solve 3 riddles. Only then will the way reveal itself." Lila agreed, and the squirrel began the first riddle. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Lila thought for a moment and answered, "An echo." "Correct," said the squirrel, handing her a small, glowing acorn. "This will help you on your journey. Now, for the second riddle, I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Lila pondered and then said, "A joke." "Very good," said the squirrel, giving her another glowing acorn. "For the final riddle, I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" After some thought, Lila answered, "A fire." The squirrel nodded approvingly and handed her the last glowing acorn. "You've done well. Follow the light of these acorns, and it will lead you to the Star Tree." With the acorns in hand, Lila continued her journey. The glowing acorns cast a warm light through the dark forest, guiding her towards a hidden grove. As she entered the grove, she saw a magnificent tree standing tall in the center. Its branches were adorned with countless sparkling stars, and the largest star at the very top glowed with an enchanting brilliance. Lila approached the Star Tree and gazed up in awe. She took out her locket, which began to glow in response to the tree's light. With a heart full of hope, Lila closed her eyes and made a wish for rain to restore her village's land. As soon as she finished her wish, the large large star at the top of the star tree began to shimmer and shoot a stream of stardust down towards Lila. The stardust danced around her, and the grove was filled with a warm, soothing light. Lila felt a gentle breeze and a sense of calm. The next morning, as Lila returned to her village, she found that dark clouds had gathered overhead, and rain began to fall. The drought was ending, and the land was being nourished once more. The villagers celebrated the return of the rain and marveled at the magic that had brought them hope. Lila's adventure and her wish for the village became a cherished story, told to every child in Stardust Hollow. The star tree's magic had not only brought rain but also reminded everyone of the power of hope and belief. And so, the village thrived under the renewed bounty of nature, and Lila's bravery and kindness became a lasting legacy. The enchanted forest continued to hold its secrets, and the star tree's light shone as a symbol of dreams fulfilled and wishes granted. The end. In a land of lush valleys and sparkling rivers, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lay the enchanting Moonstone Kingdom. This kingdom was unique, not only because of its natural beauty but also because of the mystical moonstone, a gem said to hold the power of the moon and stars. The moonstone was housed in a grand palace, where the kind-hearted Queen Seraphina ruled with wisdom and grace. The moonstone's magic kept the kingdom bathed in a gentle, silver light every night, and it was believed to bring peace and prosperity to the land. One day, as the kingdom prepared for the annual Moon Festival, a celebration of the moonstone's magic, a dark cloud appeared on the horizon. The cloud, shrouded in shadows, seemed to creep closer to the kingdom with every passing moment. The villagers were worried, and the once bright moonlight began to dim. Queen Seraphina, concerned for her kingdom, summoned her most trusted advisor, Sir Cedric, a brave knight known for his valor and loyalty. "Sir Cedric," the queen said, "the moonstone's light is fading, and this ominous cloud threatens our land. I fear the moonstone's magic may be in danger. We must find out what is causing this darkness." Sir Cedric nodded, determined to protect the kingdom. "I will seek out the source of this dark cloud and restore the moonstone's light. I will need a guide, someone who knows the hidden paths of the forest." The queen agreed and introduced Cedric to Alara, a young and clever village girl who had a deep connection with the forest and its secrets. Alara was both excited and honored to help. The two set off on their quest, leaving the Moonstone Palace behind. They ventured into the forest, where the trees whispered ancient secrets and the paths twisted and turned in unexpected ways. As they journeyed deeper, they encountered various magical creatures who spoke of a dark sorcerer named Malakar, who sought to steal the moonstone's magic for his own sinister purposes. The first clue they discovered was a series of shimmering silver footprints leading them to a hidden grove. In the center of the grove stood an ancient stone archway covered in ivy. As Cedric and Alara approached, the archway began to glow with a soft, moonlit light. "This must be a clue," Alara said, examining the archway. "It seems to be pointing us towards the heart of the forest." Following the archway's guidance, Cedric and Alara continued their journey until they reached a serene, moonlit lake. At the edge of the lake was a small boat, and beside it was an old parchment with a riddle: "On the waters where moonlight gleams, find the path that leads to dreams. Where shadows fall and silence reigns, the answer lies where magic wanes." They carefully boarded the boat and rowed across the moonlit lake. As they reached the far side, they discovered a hidden cave entrance covered in dark vines. Inside the cave, they found a magical lantern that seemed to pulse with a faint, silver light. Alara took the lantern and noticed a hidden compartment containing another parchment. This one read, "Seek the tower where night and day meet, and confront the darkness you will defeat." Cedric and Alara ventured further until they found an ancient, abandoned tower on the edge of the forest. The tower was shrouded in darkness and seemed to be the source of the ominous cloud. They climbed the spiraling staircase and reached the top, where they saw Malakar standing before the moonstone, preparing to cast a dark spell. Malakar, clad in a cloak of shadows, looked surprised but menacing. "You dare to challenge me?" he sneered. "The moonstone's power will be mine." Cedric stepped forward, brandishing his sword. "Not if we have anything to say about it." Alara, holding the magical lantern, stepped to the front. The lantern's light began to shine more brightly, and she spoke with confidence. "The Moonstone's magic belongs to the kingdom and its people. We won't let you steal it." Malachar unleashed a wave of dark magic towards them, but the lantern's light created a barrier that protected Cedric and Alara. They realized that the lantern's light was strong enough to counteract Malachar's dark spell. As Malachar continued to attack, Cedric and Alara combined their efforts. Cedric's bravery and Alara's quick thinking proved to be a powerful combination. With one final, brilliant burst of light from the lantern, Malachar was overwhelmed and his dark magic was dispelled. He was cast out of the tower and vanished into the shadows. With the sorcerer defeated, the Moonstone's light began to shine brightly once more. The dark cloud dissipated, and the kingdom was bathed in its gentle, silver glow. Cedric and Alara returned to the Moonstone Palace as heroes. Queen Seraphina greeted them with immense gratitude. "You have saved the Moonstone and our kingdom. Your bravery and unity have restored the light and peace to our land." The Moon Festival that followed was a grand celebration of the restored magic. The villagers rejoiced, and Cedric and Alara were honored for their heroism. The Moonstone continued to shine brightly, a symbol of the courage and light that resided within every heart. And so, the tale of Cedric and Alara became a beloved legend in the Moonstone Kingdom, reminding everyone that even in the darkest times, light and bravery could prevail. The Silver Fox and the Moonlit Lake. In a hidden valley surrounded by towering mountains and dense forests, there was a tranquil lake known as Moonlit Lake. Its waters were so clear that they mirrored the sky, and by night, the lake sparkled with the light of the moon, casting an ethereal glow over the land. In this valley lived a graceful silver fox named Leora. Unlike other foxes, Leora had a magical ability. She could communicate with the creatures of the forest and understand their needs. She used her gift to maintain harmony among the forest's inhabitants. The vanishing moonlight. One evening, as Leora wandered by the lake, she noticed that the moonlight seemed dimmer than usual. The once vibrant sparkle of the lake was fading, and the creatures of the forest were growing anxious. They gathered around Leora, expressing their concerns. A wise old owl named Orin spoke up. "Leora, something is wrong with the moonlight. It's as if it's being pulled away from us. The balance of our forest is at risk." Leora decided to investigate. She knew that the moonlight was crucial for maintaining the magic of Moonlit Lake and the well-being of the forest. With a determined heart, she set off on a journey to discover the cause of the fading light. The enchanted cave. Leora followed the path that led through the forest and up the mountains. As she climbed higher, she noticed that the light grew even dimmer. Eventually, she reached a hidden cave that glowed faintly with an otherworldly light. Inside the cave, Leora found a shimmering crystal, glowing with the same pale light as the moon. The crystal was embedded in a pedestal, but it was surrounded by a dark, swirling mist that seemed to be draining its light. As Leora approached, she felt a chill and saw a shadowy figure near the pedestal. The figure was a mischievous spirit named Nox, who thrived on darkness and sought to plunge the world into eternal night. Nox had been stealing the moonlight from Moonlit Lake to increase his own power. The battle of light and dark. Leora confronted Nox with courage. "You cannot take the moonlight from us. It is the lifeblood of our forest and the heart of Moonlit Lake." Nox sneered, "The darkness will rule, and there is nothing you can do to stop me." Determined to protect her home, Leora used her gift of communication to summon the animals of the forest. They gathered outside the cave, creating a powerful, united force. With their help, Leora began to counteract Nox's dark magic. The animals worked together to create a shield of light around the cave. Fireflies illuminated the area, and the song of nightingales created a harmonious melody that weakened Nox's power. Leora used her own magic to focus the energy of the moonlight, channeling it towards the crystal. As the battle raged, Leora felt the strength of the forest creatures and the warmth of the moonlight fueling her resolve. The crystal began to glow brighter, and the dark mist started to dissipate. Restoring the moonlight with a final, powerful surge of light, Leora and the forest animals overwhelmed Nox, banishing him from the cave. the crystal's light returned to its full brilliance, and the moonlight flowed back to Moonlit Lake, restoring its magical glow. The forest erupted in cheers as the creatures celebrated their victory. The moonlight danced on the lake's surface, more radiant than ever before. Leora felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing that the balance had been restored. The legacy of Leora in gratitude, the creatures of the forest presented Leora with a beautiful, moonlit necklace made from the crystal's light. This necklace had the power to summon the moonlight in times of need, ensuring that the magic of Moonlit Lake would be protected forever. Leora wore the necklace with pride and continued her role as the guardian of the forest. Her bravery and the unity of the forest creatures were celebrated in stories and psalms, passed down through generations. Moonlit Lake remained a place of magic and wonder, a symbol of harmony between light and dark. And Leora, the silver fox with a heart full of courage, became a legendary figure whose tale inspired all who heard it. Once upon a time, in the heart of the kingdom of Aurelia, there was a mysterious forest known as the Starlit Grove. Unlike any other forest, the trees of Starlit Grove sparkled with tiny, star-like lights that glimmered even in the day. The villagers believed that the grove was enchanted, but no one knew the true secret behind its magic. In the nearby village of Willowbrook lived a curious and kind-hearted girl named Elowen. Elowen had always been fascinated by the Starlit Grove and dreamed of uncovering its secret. The villagers, however, were wary of the grove, for they had heard stories of travelers who had ventured in and never returned. One evening, as the sun set and the stars began to twinkle, Elowen noticed a particularly bright star in the sky that seemed to be beckoning her. She decided that this was her chance to explore the grove and discover its mystery. Armed with a lantern, a map, and a small bag of supplies, she ventured into the forest just as the first stars began to appear. The entrance to the Starlit Grove was a grand archway of intertwined branches that shimmered with soft light. As Elowen stepped through, the grove welcomed her with a warm, twinkling glow. The path ahead was lined with glowing flowers and whispering leaves that seemed to guide her deeper into the forest. Her first challenge was a sparkling river that flowed with water like liquid starlight. A graceful water nymph named Leora appeared, floating above the river. To pass, Leora said with a melodious voice, "You must solve this riddle. I can be cracked, made, told, and played." "What am I?" Elowen thought for a moment and answered confidently, "A joke." Leora smiled and created a path of floating lily pads across the river, allowing Elowen to continue her journey. As Elowen crossed the river, she came upon a clearing where a majestic, ancient oak tree stood at its center. The tree was surrounded by a circle of luminous mushrooms. Beneath the tree sat an old, wise tortoise named Orin. To proceed, Orin said, "You must prove your understanding of true courage. Answer this question. What is the one thing you can give that will never diminish and grows only when shared?" Elowen thought deeply and answered, "Love." Orin nodded approvingly, and the mushrooms glowed brighter, revealing a hidden pathway that led Elowen deeper into the grove. The path eventually led Elowen to a grand, moonlit glade where the air was filled with the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers. At the center of the glade stood a grand pedestal with an ornate, silver chest resting upon it. As Elowen approached, the chest began to glow with a soft, inviting light. Suddenly, a celestial figure emerged from the shadows, a beautiful fairy with wings that sparkled like the night sky. She was the guardian of the Starlit Grove, named Seraphina. To uncover the secret of the Starlit Grove, Seraphina said, "You must answer one final question. What is the one thing that everyone can give, yet it is always free and never taken away?" Elowen thought hard and then said, "A smile." Seraphina smiled warmly and opened the silver chest. Inside was a radiant, star-shaped gem that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the grove. Seraphina explained that this gem was the source of the grove's magic. It held the essence of hope and joy, which gave the grove its enchanting glow. The true secret of the Starlit Grove, Seraphina said, is that its magic comes from the happiness and kindness shared by those who visit. Your heart has shown that you understand this. Elowen was honored to learn the secret and was entrusted with a small, glowing fragment of the star-shaped gem. She returned to Willowbrook with a heart full of joy and a story to share. The villagers, inspired by Eloan's bravery in the grove's magic, began to visit the starlit grove more often, spreading kindness and happiness. The grove continued to shine brightly, and its magic flourished as the villagers embraced the true spirit of its enchantment. Eloan's tale became a beloved legend in Willowbrook, a reminder of the power of kindness and the magic that exists when hearts are filled with love. And so, the starlit grove remained a beacon of light and joy in the kingdom of Aurelia, and Eloan lived happily ever after, cherished for her courage and the happiness she brought to her village. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between misty mountains and a sparkling river, there lived a kind old woman named Agnes. Agnes was known throughout the village for her warm heart and her collection of beautiful lanterns. Each lantern was unique, with intricate designs that seemed to come alive when lit. One evening, as the village prepared for the annual Festival of Lights, Agnes discovered that her most treasured lantern, a delicate creation adorned with shimmering jewels and golden filigree, was missing. This lantern was said to hold a magical glow that could reveal hidden truths and bring hope to those in despair. Desperate to find her lantern before the festival, Agnes asked her neighbor, a curious young girl named Lily, for help. Lily was always eager for an adventure, and she agreed to assist Agnes in the search. The two of them set out into the forest, where Agnes had last seen the lantern. The forest was filled with the sounds of chirping crickets and rustling leaves. As they ventured deeper, they came across a wise old owl perched on a gnarled branch. "Have you seen a lantern with a magical glow?" Lily asked the owl. The owl hooted thoughtfully. "To find what you seek, you must first follow the path of the moonlight and solve the riddle of the forest." The owl presented them with a riddle. "I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I?" Lily thought for a moment and answered, "A map." The owl nodded and directed them to a hidden glade where the moonlight cast a soft, silver glow. In the center of the glade stood an ancient stone pedestal with a second riddle inscribed upon it. The riddle read, "The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I?" Agnes and Lily pondered the riddle, and Lily finally guessed, "Footsteps." The pedestal shifted, revealing a narrow path that led them to a magical clearing bathed in moonlight. There, they discovered a small, sparkling stream with water that seemed to twinkle like stardust. On a rock beside the stream sat the missing lantern, glowing with an ethereal light. However, as they approached, a mischievous forest sprite appeared. "That lantern is mine now," the sprite declared, clutching the lantern tightly. "I found it and wanted to keep it for myself." Lily stepped forward bravely. "We only seek to return it to its rightful owner, so it can bring light and joy to others." The sprite looked at Lily with a curious expression. "Prove that you truly deserve this lantern by showing me the light in your heart." Lily, with her pure and genuine spirit, began to speak about her love for her village and her desire to help others. Her words were filled with warmth and sincerity, and the sprite could feel the truth in her heart. "You have shown great kindness and selflessness," the sprite said, handing the lantern back to Lily. "May this lantern guide you and bring light to those in need." With the lantern safely in hand, Agnes and Lily made their way back to the village just in time for the Festival of Lights. As the lantern was lit and placed at the center of the village square, its magical glow filled the night sky with a brilliant, soothing light. The villagers gathered around, awed by the lantern's beauty and the sense of hope it brought. The festival was a great success, and the villagers celebrated not only the return of the magical lantern but also the bravery and kindness of Lily and Agnes. The story of their adventure became a cherished tale in the village, a reminder of the power of light, kindness, and the courage to seek what is right. And so, the village of the Festival of Lights continued to shine brightly, thanks to the enchanted lantern and the heartwarming tale of a young girl and her kind friend. The tale of the moonlit meadow. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there was a serene village nestled in a lush valley surrounded by towering mountains. At the heart of this village was a mysterious meadow known as the Moonlit Meadow. It was said that on certain nights, when the moon was full and the stars sparkled brightly, the meadow would come alive with magical creatures and glowing flowers. In this village lived a curious and kind-hearted girl named Eloan. Iloan had always been fascinated by the tales of the moonlit meadow. Her grandmother would tell her stories of the magical creatures that lived there and the wonder that unfolded when the moonlight touched the flowers. Iloan longed to see the meadow for herself, but it was said that only those with a true and selfless heart could witness its magic. One year, a terrible drought hit the village, leaving the fields parched and the wells dry. The villagers were worried, and Iloan, seeing the distress of her people, decided to venture into the moonlit meadow to seek its magic and save her village. The journey to the meadow one clear, starry night, Iloan set off towards the meadow, guided by the light of the full moon. She carried a small satchel with some bread, a flask of water, and a warm cloak. The path to the moonlit meadow was winding and overgrown, but Iloan was determined. As she walked, Iloan came across an ancient stone archway covered in ivy. An old, wise-looking tortoise was resting at the base of the archway. The tortoise looked up and said, "To enter the moonlit meadow, you must first answer my riddle. What has a heart that doesn't beat?" Iloan thought for a moment and answered, "An artichoke." The tortoise smiled and nodded, slowly moving aside to reveal a hidden path. Iloan continued her journey, her heart full of hope. The glowing forest. The path led Iloan through a forest where the trees seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. She soon encountered a beautiful, ethereal deer with silver antlers standing in her way. The deer spoke in a melodious voice, "To pass through the forest, you must solve this riddle. I have cities, but no houses, forests, but no trees, and rivers, but no water. What am I?" Iloan pondered and replied, "A map." The deer gracefully stepped aside, revealing a clear path lined with sparkling fireflies. Iloan followed the path, her excitement growing. The moonlit meadow. At last, Iloan arrived at the moonlit meadow. The sight was breathtaking. The meadow was bathed in the soft, silvery glow of the full moon, and the flowers glowed with a gentle, magical light. Tiny, luminous creatures flitted among the flowers, and the air was filled with a soothing, melodious hum. In the center of the meadow was a grand, ancient tree with shimmering leaves. Beneath the tree was a crystal-clear pool of water, and at its edge stood a small, glowing figure, a fairy with delicate wings. The fairy spoke softly, "To receive the magic of the moonlit meadow, you must make a wish with a heart full of love and selflessness." Iloan closed her eyes and made her wish, "I wish for my village to have abundant water and fertile fields, so that everyone may have enough to eat and live in peace." As she spoke, the fairy's wand glowed brightly, and a wave of shimmering light spread from the pool, flowing back towards Iloan's village. Iloan felt a warm, comforting breeze as the magic began to work. The return to the village. When Iloan returned to her village, she was greeted with astonished joy. The once dry fields were now lush and green, and the wells were brimming with water. The village thrived once more, and the people celebrated with a grand feast in Iloan's honor. The magic of the moonlit meadow had brought prosperity and hope to the village, and Iloan's bravery and kindness were celebrated far and wide. The tale of Iloan and the moonlit meadow became a cherished story, passed down through generations as a reminder of the power of selflessness and the magic that can be found in the world. And so, Iloan's village continued to flourish, forever blessed by the magic of the moonlit meadow in the heart of one extraordinary young girl. Once upon a time, in a land far beyond the reaches of ordinary maps, there was a forgotten kingdom known as Luminera. This kingdom was hidden from the eyes of the world, shielded by a powerful enchantment. Its people lived in peace and prosperity, their lives illuminated by a magical silver mirror that hung in the grand hall of the castle. The mirror had the power to reveal the true nature of things and guide the kingdom's rulers with wisdom. However, one fateful night, a sorceress named Morgana, envious of Luminera's beauty and harmony, cast a dark spell over the kingdom. The silver mirror was stolen, and Luminera was plunged into darkness. Without the mirror's light, the kingdom's magic began to fade, and the once vibrant land became shrouded in mist and sorrow. In a small village at the edge of the enchanted forest, a young girl named Iloan lived. Iloan was known for her kind heart and adventurous spirit. She often heard tales of the lost kingdom and its magical mirror from the village elders, and she dreamed of restoring the kingdom to its former glory. One day, while exploring the forest, Eloan stumbled upon an ancient tree with a door carved into its trunk. Intrigued, she opened the door to find an old, dusty journal inside. The journal belonged to the last royal historian of Luminera, and it contained clues about the mirror's whereabouts and how to break the enchantment. Determined to help, Eloan took the journal to the village elder. After studying it carefully, the elder told her, to retrieve the silver mirror and restore Luminera, you must first find the 3 enchanted keys hidden throughout the land. These keys will unlock the path to the mirror and dispel Morgana's dark magic. Armed with the journal and a heart full of courage, Eloan set out on her quest. Her journey took her through lush meadows, over treacherous mountains, and into the depths of mysterious caves. The first key was hidden in the Whispering Grove, a forest where the trees could speak. There, Eloan met a wise old tree named Arboris. The tree spoke in riddles, and Eloan had to solve them to earn the first key. Arboris asked, I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I? Eloan thought for a moment and replied, fire. Arboris's branches swayed in approval, and he handed her the first key, a delicate silver feather. Next, Eloan ventured to the crystal caverns, where the second key was said to be hidden. The caverns were filled with dazzling crystals that reflected light in every direction. There, she encountered a clever crystal dragon named Ignis. Ignis posed a challenge. To earn the second key, you must find the hidden crystal among the many. Only the one that shines with a pure light is the key you seek. Eloan carefully examined each crystal, guided by her intuition. After a long search, she found the one that glowed with a soft, warm light. Ignis, impressed by her perseverance and heart, gave her the second key, a radiant emerald. Finally, Eloan journeyed to the depths of the dark abyss, where the third key was concealed. The abyss was a treacherous place, filled with shadows and illusions. There, she encountered a gentle, glowing creature named Lumina. Lumina explained, to find the third key, you must face your deepest fear and overcome it with bravery and compassion. Eloan closed her eyes and faced her fears, of losing her way, of failing her quest. With each fear she confronted, she felt a surge of courage and resolve. When she opened her eyes, Lumina handed her the third key, a shimmering sapphire. With all 3 keys in hand, Eloan returned to the enchanted forest and found the entrance to Luminera, hidden behind an ancient veil of magic. She used the keys to unlock the path, revealing a hidden gateway that led to the heart of the kingdom. Inside, Eloan confronted Morgana, who had taken refuge in the grand hall where the silver mirror once hung. Morgana was surrounded by dark, swirling magic. Eloan, with the courage she had gained on her journey, faced the sorceress. The mirror belongs to the people of Luminera, Eloan declared. Its light must return to restore harmony and peace. Morgana, surprised by Eloan's bravery and sincerity, tried to resist but was ultimately overcome by the purity of her heart. The dark enchantments were lifted, and the silver mirror was restored to its rightful place. As the mirror's light spread across the kingdom, Luminera was bathed in a glorious, shimmering glow. The land returned to its former splendor, and the people celebrated the return of their magic. King Cedric, the rightful ruler of Luminera, thanked Eloan for her bravery and selflessness. As a token of their gratitude, he invited her to stay in the kingdom and offered her a place of honor. Eloan chose to return to her village, but she knew she would always be connected to the magic of Luminera. Her tale of courage and the restoration of the silver mirror became a cherished story in both her village and the restored kingdom. And so, the kingdom of Luminera thrived once more, its people living in joy and harmony, forever grateful to the brave girl who ventured into the unknown and brought back the light. The end. Once upon a time, in a land where the skies were always painted with twilight hues and stars twinkled brightly, there was a small village named Celestia. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, and their lives were guided by the stars above. Each year, they celebrated the Night of Wishes, a magical evening when the stars were said to grant one special wish. In this village lived a kind-hearted boy named Leo. Leo was known for his adventurous spirit and his love for the night sky. He often spent his evenings stargazing, dreaming of discovering the secrets of the cosmos. This year, as the Night of Wishes approached, Leo decided he would embark on a quest to find the legendary Starlight Compass, a mystical artifact said to guide its bearer to their deepest desires. According to legend, the Starlight Compass was hidden in the heart of the Celestial Forest, a mystical woodland that shimmered with starry light. Leo prepared for his journey by packing a small satchel with essentials, a map of the stars, a lantern, and a warm cloak. With a heart full of determination and curiosity, he set out as the first stars began to appear in the evening sky. As Leo entered the celestial forest, the trees sparkled with a gentle, silver light, and the air was filled with the soft hum of celestial melodies. Leo followed a path illuminated by stardust, guided by the twinkling lights of fireflies that seemed to dance in rhythm with the stars above. After walking for some time, Leo came to a clearing where a magnificent, ancient tree stood. Its branches stretched high into the sky, and its leaves shimmered like a galaxy. At the base of the tree was a grand, golden door adorned with intricate star patterns. Leo approached the door and noticed a riddle inscribed on it: "To find the compass and claim its might, you must seek the light within the night. 3 tasks you must complete with grace, and then you'll find the hidden place." The first task was the task of kindness. Leo saw a small, wounded fox nestled under the tree. With gentle hands, he tended to the fox's injury and wrapped it in a soft cloth. The fox looked at Leo with grateful eyes before scampering off into the forest. The second task was the task of courage. Leo heard a faint, mournful sound coming from a deep, shadowy ravine. Peering into the darkness, he saw a family of glowing fireflies trapped inside a spider's web. Summoning his courage, Leo carefully freed the fireflies, who buzzed around him in a grateful, joyous swirl. The final task was the task of wisdom. Leo found an ancient stone tablet with a constellation map. The map depicted a series of stars forming a pattern. The riddle's final clue was inscribed on the tablet: "Find the star that guides the way, and it will lead you where you may. Align the stars with your true aim, and the compass will reveal its name." Star. Leo studied the constellation map and aligned the stars according to their patterns. As he did, the golden door began to glow with a soft, warm light. The door creaked open, revealing a hidden chamber bathed in starlight. In the center of the chamber was a pedestal with a shimmering compass resting upon it. The compass had a crystal-clear face and delicate, silver pointers that glowed with an otherworldly light. Leo carefully took the starlight compass and felt a surge of warmth and clarity. The compass's needle pointed towards the sky, and Leo knew that his deepest wish had been granted. With the compass in hand, he followed its guidance back to Celestia. As he arrived, the stars seemed to shine even brighter, and the village was filled with a renewed sense of wonder and magic. On the Night of Wishes, Leo shared the story of his adventure and the magic of the Starlight Compass with the villagers. The compass's light illuminated the night, guiding the villagers' wishes and bringing joy and hope to everyone. From that night on, the Starlight Compass became a cherished symbol in Celestia, reminding everyone that with kindness, courage, and wisdom, the stars would always guide them to their deepest desires. And so, the tale of Leo and the Starlight Compass became a beloved legend, celebrating the magic of the night sky and the power of dreams. Once upon a time, in a picturesque village surrounded by rolling hills and vibrant meadows, there was a legend about a hidden melody that could bring peace and harmony to anyone who heard it. The melody was said to be hidden deep within a magical forest, known as the Whispering Woods, where the trees sang softly with the wind and the streams babbled gentle tunes. In this village lived a young girl named Eloan. Eloan was known for her love of music and her ability to play the lute with a grace that captivated everyone who listened. Despite her talent, she often felt that her music could be more than just beautiful notes; it could heal hearts and bring people together. So, when she heard about the hidden melody, Eloan was determined to find it and share it with her village. One bright morning, with the first light of dawn casting a golden hue over the land, Eloan set out for the Whispering Woods. She carried her lute in a small pouch of provisions, her heart filled with hope and excitement. As she entered the forest, The trees seemed to welcome her with a soft rustling, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. The forest was alive with gentle sounds, as if the trees were whispering secrets and the birds were singing in harmony. Iloan followed a winding path that led deeper into the woods. The path was lined with glowing mushrooms and delicate, luminescent flowers that seemed to guide her way. After walking for a while, Iloan arrived at a clearing where an old, wise oak tree stood. The tree's branches were adorned with shimmering leaves, and its trunk was covered in intricate carvings. As Iloan approached, she heard a soft, melodic hum emanating from the tree. "Welcome, Iloan," a gentle voice said. It was the spirit of the oak tree, glowing with a soft, golden light. To find the hidden melody, you must complete 3 tasks, each one testing a different aspect of your heart. Iloan nodded eagerly, ready to accept the challenge. The first task was the task of generosity. The spirit guided Iloan to a grove where a family of deer was struggling to find food. The grove had been depleted by the storm, and the deer were hungry. Iloan took some of the food from her pouch and scattered it around the grove. The deer approached, their eyes filled with gratitude, and soon they were eating happily. The second task was the task of courage. The spirit led Iloan to a deep, shadowy ravine where a frightened fox was trapped. The fox had ventured too close to the edge and was unable to find its way back. Iloan carefully descended into the ravine, calming the fox with her soothing voice. She helped the fox climb back up to safety, and the fox nuzzled her in thanks before disappearing into the forest. The final task was the task of wisdom. Iloan was presented with a riddle inscribed on a stone pedestal, *, I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I? Star. Iloan pondered the riddle, remembering her own experiences and the lessons she had learned. After a moment of thought, she answered, a joke. The stone pedestal glowed softly, and a hidden compartment opened, revealing an old, beautifully crafted music box. With the music box in hand, Iloan returned to the oak tree. The spirit of the oak tree smiled and said, "You have completed the tasks with a true heart. The hidden melody is now yours to share." Iloan opened the music box, and a delicate, enchanting tune filled the air. The melody was unlike anything she had ever heard, soothing and uplifting, with a harmony that resonated deeply. She played the melody on her lute, and the notes blended seamlessly with the music from the box. As Iloan played, the whispering woods seemed to come alive with the melody. The trees swayed gently, and the animals gathered around to listen. The music spread through the forest and beyond, reaching her village. When Iloan returned to the village, she shared the melody with her friends and family. The music brought a sense of calm and joy to everyone who heard it. The village was filled with laughter and harmony. And the bonds between the villagers grew stronger. The hidden melody became a cherished part of the village's traditions, and Iloan's music was celebrated as a gift from the whispering woods. The forest continued to hum its gentle tunes, and the village thrived in peace and unity. And so, Iloan's quest for the hidden melody became a beloved story, reminding everyone of the power of generosity, courage, and wisdom, and the magic that lies in sharing a beautiful gift. The end. Once upon a time, in a land where magic was as common as the wind, there was a kingdom surrounded by a vast and ancient forest. This forest was known as the Forgotten Forest, for it had been abandoned by the people of the kingdom many years ago. Legends told of strange creatures and hidden treasures deep within its heart, but the villagers feared the forest, believing it to be cursed. In a small village on the edge of the kingdom lived a boy named Finn. Unlike the others, Finn had always been fascinated by the stories of the Forgotten Forest. While the villagers warned him to stay away, Finn couldn't help but feel drawn to the mysterious woods. He spent hours reading old books about the forest's history and dreaming of the adventures that might await him there. One day, as Finn was exploring the edge of the forest, he found an old, crumbling map tucked inside the hollow of a tree. The map was worn and faded, but it clearly showed a path leading deep into the forest to a place marked with a golden star. Intrigued, Finn knew this was his chance to explore the forest and uncover its secrets. Early the next morning, Finn set out on his adventure. He packed a small bag with food, water, and a lantern, and carried the map close to his heart. The villagers watched him go with a mixture of curiosity and fear, but Finn was determined. He followed the path on the map, the dense trees of the forgotten forest closing in around him as he walked. The forest was quiet, almost eerily so, and the air was thick with the scent of moss and earth. As Finn ventured deeper, he began to notice things that seemed out of place, flowers that glowed softly in the shadows, trees that twisted into strange shapes, and streams that bubbled with a golden hue. But Finn wasn't afraid. He felt a sense of wonder and excitement, as if the forest was welcoming him. After hours of walking, Finn came upon a clearing where a large, ancient oak tree stood. Its bark was covered in runes, and its roots stretched deep into the ground like the fingers of a giant. In front of the tree was a stone pedestal, and on the pedestal sat a small, ornate box made of silver and gold. Finn knew this must be the treasure the map had led him to. As Finn reached out to touch the box, a soft voice echoed through the clearing. "Who dares to enter the heart of the forgotten forest?" Startled, Finn looked around, but saw no one. "I am Finn," he called out, "a boy from the village. I mean no harm. I've come to explore the forest and discover its secrets." The air shimmered, and suddenly, standing before him was a figure made of light, a beautiful, ethereal being with flowing hair and eyes that sparkled like the stars. Finn realized that this was a forest spirit, one of the ancient guardians of the forgotten forest. "You have a brave heart, young Finn," the spirit said, her voice as soft as a breeze. "This forest has been forgotten by the people of your kingdom, but it is still full of life and magic. The box you see before you is not just any treasure, it is the heart of the forest. It holds the magic that sustains this land. But long ago, the villagers feared this power and abandoned the forest, leaving it to wither and fade." Finn listened intently, his curiosity growing. Why did they fear it? And what will happen if the heart of the forest is not protected? The villagers did not understand the magic, the spirit explained. They thought it dangerous, and so they turned their backs on it. Without the care of those who live near it, the magic has weakened, and the forest has begun to fade. If the heart is not protected and nurtured, the forest will disappear entirely, and with it, the magic that once brought life to this kingdom. Finn felt a pang of sadness. He couldn't imagine a world without the wonders of the forest. "Is there anything I can do to help?" he asked, determined to save the forest. The spirit smiled, her light growing warmer. "You have already taken the first step by entering the forest without fear. To restore the heart of the forest, you must return to your village and convince the people to embrace the magic once more. The heart cannot survive on its own, it needs the love and care of those who live nearby. Only then will the forest thrive again." Finn nodded, understanding the importance of the task before him. He carefully took the box from the pedestal, feeling its warmth in his hands. "I will do everything I can to protect the heart and restore the forest," he promised. With the box in his hands, Finn made his way back through the forest. As he walked, the trees seemed to part before him, guiding him safely back to the village. When he emerged from the woods, the villagers were waiting, their faces filled with surprise and awe. Finn held up the box for all to see. "This is the heart of the forest," he announced. "It holds the magic that once made our land flourish. We must no longer fear the forest, but embrace it and care for it. Only then can we save our home and ensure that the magic of the forest lives on." The villagers listened to Finn's words, and one by one, they began to understand. They had forgotten the importance of the forest, but now, seeing the heart of the forest in Finn's hands, they knew they could no longer turn their backs on it. Led by Finn, the villagers returned to the forest, bringing with them tools to tend to the trees, seeds to plant new life, and their renewed belief in the magic that had once been their pride. As they worked together, the forest began to change. The trees grew taller and stronger, the flowers bloomed brighter, and the streams flowed with fresh, clear water. And at the heart of it all, the ancient oak tree stood tall, its roots entwined with the magic of the land, protected by the love and care of the people. In time, the forgotten forest became known as the Enchanted Forest, a place where magic and nature thrived in harmony. the villagers no longer feared the forest, but cherished it as a source of life and wonder. As for Finn, he grew into a wise and respected leader, always reminding the people of the importance of their bond with the forest. The heart of the forest remained safe, and with it, the magic of the kingdom continued to flourish for generations to come. And so, the enchanted forest lived on, a symbol of the power of understanding, courage, and the deep connection between people and nature. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by emerald forests and sparkling rivers, there was a grand castle ruled by a wise and kind king. His daughter, Princess Aurora, was known for her beauty and generosity. She was beloved by everyone in the kingdom, but she had one sadness: she could not see her own reflection. Her mirror had mysteriously shattered one night, and despite many attempts, the pieces could not be put back together. One day, an old sorcerer appeared at the castle gates with a twinkle in his eye. He claimed he could repair the mirror, but he needed something rare, a single, genuine drop of a phoenix's feather, known to possess magical properties. He warned that finding such a feather would be a great challenge, but Princess Aurora, eager to see herself again and bring hope to her people, agreed to try. The sorcerer told her of a legendary phoenix who lived atop the Misty Mountain, a perilous peak surrounded by thick fog and treacherous paths. Determined, Aurora set out on her quest, armed with a map and her father's old sword. On her journey, Aurora met a kind-hearted knight named Sir Cedric. Sir Cedric was known for his bravery and noble deeds. He had heard of the princess's quest and offered to help, knowing the dangers that lay ahead. "Princess Aurora," Cedric said with a bow, "I will accompany you and ensure your safety. We will find the phoenix together." Aurora thanked Cedric, and the two set off for Misty Mountain. They traveled through enchanted forests, crossed bubbling brooks, and climbed steep cliffs. Along the way, they faced many challenges. They had to outsmart mischievous forest sprites who tried to lead them astray, and they bravely navigated through a dark cave filled with echoing sounds that tried to confuse them. As they neared the top of Misty Mountain, the fog grew thicker, and the air became colder. Aurora and Cedric pressed on, their determination unwavering. Finally, they reached a clearing where the phoenix's magnificent nest was perched atop a glowing stone altar. The phoenix itself, with feathers of gold and red, shimmered in the dim light. It was a sight to behold, majestic and radiant. Cedric approached cautiously, while Aurora stood back, respecting the creature's space. With a deep breath, Cedric spoke. "Great Phoenix, we come in peace. Princess Aurora seeks a single drop of your feather to mend her broken mirror. It is a token of her love for her people and her wish to see herself once more." The phoenix looked at them with wise, knowing eyes. It seemed to understand their noble quest. The phoenix nodded and slowly, one golden feather fell from its plumage. It landed softly on the altar, glistening with a magical light. Aurora's heart soared with joy. She thanked the phoenix, and Cedric carefully placed the feather into a small pouch. As they turned to leave, the phoenix spoke in a melodious voice. "True courage and kindness are the greatest magic of all. You have proven your hearts are pure. May the feather bring not just sight, but wisdom and understanding." Aurora and Cedric made their way back to the castle, their journey now filled with the promise of success. When they arrived, the sorcerer awaited them with a hopeful expression. With the feather in hand, he began the enchanting process of mending the mirror. As the pieces of the mirror came together, a soft, warm glow filled the room. The mirror was whole once more, and Aurora looked into it, finally seeing her reflection. But more importantly, she saw the reflection of all the courage and kindness she had shown along her journey. Cedric, standing beside her, watched with a proud smile. The kingdom rejoiced as the princess's mirror was restored. The people celebrated not just the return of their beloved princess's reflection, but the bravery and kindness that had brought them this joyous day. And so, Princess Aurora and Sir Cedric became close friends, their bond forged through their shared adventure. The kingdom thrived under Aurora's kind rule, and Sir Cedric's deeds were remembered as the tales of bravery and honor. From then on, the magical mirror was not only a symbol of beauty but a reminder of the virtues that truly mattered: courage, kindness, and the magic found in helping others. The end. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Lumina, there was a village nestled in a valley surrounded by towering mountains. The village was known for its beautiful night sky, filled with stars that seemed close enough to touch. Every night, the villagers would gather to admire the stars, believing they held the secrets to their future and well-being. However, one fateful evening, the stars began to dim, and a heavy darkness spread across the land. Crops failed, and the once clear rivers turned murky. The villagers were filled with fear and uncertainty, as they believed the stars had abandoned them. In the heart of the village lived a young girl named Anya, who was known for her kindness and determination. She could not bear to see her home suffer and decided to find a way to restore the stars' light. Anya remembered the tales her grandmother used to tell her about the starflower, a magical flower that bloomed once every century atop the highest peak in the kingdom, Mount Solara. It was said that the starflower had the power to rekindle the stars and bring light back to the world. Determined to save her village, Anya set off on a journey to find the starflower. The journey to Mount Solara was perilous and filled with challenges. As Anya made her way through the dense forests, she encountered a talking owl named Orion. Orion was wise and offered to guide her through the treacherous terrain. Grateful for the help, Anya accepted, and the two set off together. After days of traveling, they reached the base of Mount Solara. The mountain was steep and covered in ice, making the climb incredibly difficult. Anya's determination never wavered, and with Orion's guidance, they slowly made their way up the mountain. Along the way, they encountered various creatures, some helpful and others not so much. They met a friendly mountain goat named Zephyr, who showed them a hidden path that made the climb easier. As they neared the summit, a fierce snowstorm hit, threatening to push them back down the mountain. Anya, shivering and exhausted, was about to lose hope when a figure emerged from the swirling snow. It was a knight clad in shining armor that seemed to glow with the light of the moon. He introduced himself as Sir Cedric, the Moonlit Knight, guardian of the Starflower. "I see you have come a long way, young one," Sir Cedric said, his voice kind but firm. "To prove your worth, you must face one final challenge. You must retrieve the Starflower from the ice cave guarded by the ice dragon, Frostbane. Only a heart pure of intention and courage can withstand his icy breath." Anya nodded, her resolve strengthening. With Sir Cedric by her side, they made their way to the ice cave. The air inside was frigid, and the walls shimmered with frozen crystals. At the heart of the cave lay the Starflower, its petals glowing with a soft, celestial light. However, blocking their path was Frostbane, his scales glistening like diamonds and his eyes piercing blue. Frostbane roared, sending a blast of icy wind towards them. Sir Cedric raised his shield to protect Anya, but she knew that to truly prove herself, she had to face the dragon alone. Taking a deep breath, Anya stepped forward. "Great Frostbane," she called out, her voice steady. "I seek the Starflower to save my village and restore the light to the stars. Please, let me take it and bring hope back to my people." Frostbane studied her for a moment, then spoke in a voice like cracking ice. "Many have come seeking the Starflower, but few have shown the courage and selflessness you possess. You may take the Starflower, and with it, restore the light." With a nod of gratitude, Anya carefully plucked the Starflower from its icy bed. As she did, the cave began to warm, and the ice started to melt. Frostbane bowed his head in respect, and Anya, Sir Cedric, and Orion made their way back down the mountain. When they returned to the village, Anya planted the Starflower in the center of the village square. Its light grew brighter and brighter until it burst into a brilliant shower of stardust that ascended into the night sky, rekindling the stars. The darkness lifted, and the land was once again bathed in light. The villagers rejoiced, their hearts filled with hope and gratitude. Anya was hailed as a hero, and the tale of her bravery spread throughout the kingdom. Sir Cedric and Orion became her lifelong friends, and together, they ensured that the light of the stars would never fade again. And so, the village of Lumina thrived under the twinkling night sky, a testament to the power of courage, kindness, and the unyielding spirit of a young girl who dared to reach for the stars. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by misty mountains and shimmering lakes, there was a charming village named Starhaven. Starhaven was known for its crystal-clear nights, where the stars seemed to twinkle more brightly than anywhere else. The villagers believed that the stars were magical and watched over them, guiding their lives with their gentle light. In this village lived a young girl named Elara. Elara was known for her love of stargazing and her adventurous spirit. Every evening, she would climb the hill behind her cottage and lie on the soft grass, watching the constellations dance across the night sky. Her favorite star was the North Star, which she believed had a special connection to her dreams. One night, as Elara was stargazing, she noticed that the North Star was dimmer than usual. Concerned, she decided to investigate. With a lantern in hand and a heart full of determination, she set off on a journey to the top of the highest mountain in the land, where it was said that the stars touched the earth. The path was steep and winding, and the journey was fraught with challenges. Elara encountered a swirling snowstorm, crossed a rickety old bridge, and navigated through a dark forest filled with whispering shadows. But she pressed on, guided by the faint glow of the North Star. At the summit, she discovered a hidden cave. Inside, the walls were adorned with sparkling crystals, and at the center of the cave was a magical pool of starlight. Floating above the pool was a delicate, glowing star, its light flickering weakly. As Elara approached, a gentle voice echoed through the cave. "Who dares enter the realm of the stars?" Elara looked around and saw a wise, ancient figure emerge from the shadows. It was a celestial guardian with flowing robes that shimmered like the night sky. "I am Elara," she said bravely. "I have come to restore the light of the North Star. It is dim, and I fear for the balance of the stars." The guardian's eyes softened with compassion. "The North Star is fading because the Starstone, which powers the stars, has been stolen by a dark sorcerer. Without it, the stars cannot shine as brightly. You are the first to reach this place, and I sense that you have a pure heart." Elara's eyes widened. "How can I help retrieve the Starstone?" The guardian handed her a shimmering map and said, "Follow this map to the Shadow Realm, where the sorcerer hides. There, you must confront him and recover the Starstone. But remember, the power of the Starstone is not just physical, it also requires a heart full of courage and love." With the map in hand, Elara ventured into the Shadow Realm, a place of swirling darkness and eerie silence. She navigated through the realm, her lantern's light piercing the shadows. Eventually, she found the sorcerer's lair, a towering fortress surrounded by swirling mists. Inside, the sorcerer sat on a dark throne, the Starstone glowing ominously at his side. He was a tall figure cloaked in shadows, his eyes gleaming with malice. "Why have you come here, child?" he sneered. Elara took a deep breath. "I have come to reclaim the Starstone and restore the light of the North Star. The stars are important to the world, and their light brings hope and guidance." The sorcerer laughed. "You think you can take it from me? The Starstone's power is mine to command." With a sudden burst of bravery, Elara stepped forward and spoke from her heart. "The power of the Starstone is meant to bring light and hope, not darkness. True power lies in using it for good." Her words struck a chord with the sorcerer. He hesitated, and for a moment, his hardened exterior softened. He realized the truth in her words. Reluctantly, he handed the Starstone over to Elara, his anger giving way to a deep, introspective sadness. Elara thanked him and quickly made her way back to the summit. With the Starstone in place, its light began to radiate throughout the cave, filling it with a brilliant, warm glow. The North Star's light was restored, and the stars across the sky sparkled with renewed brilliance. When Elara returned to Starhaven, the villagers celebrated her bravery and kindness. The North Star shone more brightly than ever, and the balance of the stars was preserved. The sorcerer, having seen the error of his ways, found redemption and vowed to use his magic for good. Elara's adventure became a cherished tale in Starhaven, a story of courage, kindness, and the power of a pure heart. The stars continued to guide and inspire the village, and Elara, with her unwavering spirit, lived happily ever after. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a kingdom not found on any map, there was a realm of gears and magic called Clockwork. This land was ruled by a wise and kind-hearted queen named Elara. Queen Elara was no ordinary monarch, she had a special gift. Her heart was connected to the kingdom's grand clock, a magnificent timepiece that ticked rhythmically at the center of the capital city. This clock wasn't just for telling time, it governed the very essence of magic in the land. The kingdom thrived in harmony, thanks to the clock. Every tick brought a fresh bloom of flowers, and every tock sent a gentle breeze to cool the land. However, this perfect balance was threatened one fateful day when a mysterious shadowy figure appeared at the edge of the kingdom. This figure was none other than an envious sorcerer named Malachi, who had longed for the magic of the Clockwork Kingdom. He harbored a dark spell that could halt the grand clock's gears, plunging the land into chaos. Disguised as a humble traveler, Malachi entered the kingdom and managed to slip into the palace unnoticed. There, he whispered his spell into the heart of the clock. As the spell took hold, the once harmonious ticking of the clock began to falter. Flowers wilted, and the breeze turned into a harsh wind. Queen Elara, sensing the imbalance, knew that something was terribly wrong. She called upon her trusted advisor, a clever mechanical owl named Hoot, and together they set out to find the source of the disturbance. Hoot's mechanical eyes scanned the kingdom's clockwork machinery while Elara used her magic to sense the disruption. They soon discovered the dark enchantment at the heart of the clock. Realizing the urgency of the situation, Elara and Hoot needed to act quickly to save their beloved kingdom. They set out on a perilous journey to find the only thing that could break Malachi's spell, a legendary artifact known as the Crystal Key. This key was said to be hidden deep within the enchanted forest, guarded by ancient beings and tricky puzzles. The enchanted forest was no ordinary woodland. Its trees whispered secrets, and its paths shifted with every step. Elara and Hoot ventured deeper into the forest, facing numerous challenges. They solved riddles posed by talking animals, navigated through shifting illusions, and even braved the trials of the forest guardian, a majestic stag with eyes like glowing emeralds. At the heart of the forest, they finally reached the hidden sanctuary where the crystal key lay. It was a radiant gem that pulsed with a soft, inviting glow. But to retrieve it, they needed to answer one final riddle posed by the guardian: what binds time and magic together, yet never can be seen? Elara thought deeply, her mind racing through the magical principles she had learned over the years. Then it struck her. "It is the essence of balance," she exclaimed. The guardian's eyes sparkled with approval, and the crystal key floated into her hands. With the crystal key in their possession, Elara and Hoot raced back to the kingdom. As they approached the grand clock, Malachi reappeared, furious at their success. He tried to unleash his dark magic once more, but Elara was ready. She used the crystal key to counteract the spell, and with a surge of magic, the grand clock began to tick smoothly once again. The kingdom's harmony was restored. Flowers bloomed, and the breeze became gentle once more. Malachi, realizing he was defeated, fled into the shadows, never to be seen again. Queen Elara and Hoot were celebrated as heroes. The kingdom rejoiced in their restored magic and balance. From that day on, the grand clock continued its steady rhythm, and the people of Clockwork lived in peace and prosperity. And as for Elara, she never forgot the lesson that balance was the key to harmony, and that even in times of darkness, courage and wisdom could restore the light. And so, in the enchanted land of Clockwork, time ticked on, carrying with it the magic of harmony in the legacy of a brave queen and her loyal friend. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between rolling hills and a crystal-clear sea, there was a peaceful village named Glimmerstone. The village was known for its extraordinary stones that shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow. Each stone was said to possess a unique magic, and the villagers believed that the stones brought good fortune and harmony. In Glimmerstone, there lived a young girl named Lila. Lila had an extraordinary gift. She could communicate with the stones and understand their secrets. Despite her talent, she lived a simple life, helping her family and caring for her beloved pet rabbit, Thistle. One day, a dark cloud covered the sky, and the once vibrant stones began to lose their luster. The villagers grew worried as their crops withered and the river started to dry up. Desperate, they turned to Lila for help. The village elder told her of an ancient prophecy: only the Heartstone could restore balance and bring back the magic of the stones. According to the prophecy, the Heartstone was hidden in the Forbidden Forest, a place no villager had ever dared to explore. Determined to save her village, Lila set off on a journey, taking Thistle with her for companionship and support. As they entered the Forbidden Forest, the trees seemed to whisper secrets, and strange shadows danced among the leaves. But Lila's heart was steady. She followed a trail of glowing stones that seemed to guide her deeper into the forest. Along the way, she encountered magical creatures, a wise old tortoise who offered her guidance, a playful sprite who gave her a hint, and a brave squirrel who shared his knowledge of the forest's hidden paths. After a long and arduous journey, Lila and Thistle reached the heart of the forest, where they discovered a hidden cave. Inside, the cave sparkled with countless gems, but at its center was the Heartstone, radiating a soft, golden glow. The stone was guarded by a majestic phoenix, whose fiery feathers illuminated the cave with a warm light. The phoenix spoke in a voice that echoed through the cavern: only one with a true and selfless heart may claim the Heartstone. To prove your worth, you must answer a question: what is the greatest gift one can give to others? Lila thought for a moment, then replied, the greatest gift is love and kindness. It is the ability to care for others and help them, even when it is difficult. The phoenix nodded, its eyes glowing with approval. You have answered wisely. The Heartstone is yours, but remember, it is not the stone itself that has the power. It is the love and kindness in your heart that will restore the magic. Lila took the Heartstone and made her way back to Glimmerstone. As she approached the village, she held the stone high, and its golden light spread over the land. The withered crops began to bloom, the rivers flowed once more, and the stones regained their vibrant colors. The villagers rejoiced, celebrating Lila's bravery and selflessness. They honored her with a grand feast and thanked her for saving their home. Lila's courage had not only restored their magic but had also brought the village closer together, reminding them of the true power of love and kindness. From that day on, Glimmerstone thrived, and the legend of Lila and the Heartstone became a cherished tale, passed down through the generations. And so, Lila, Thistle, and the villagers lived happily ever after, surrounded by the shimmering stones and the warmth of their newfound unity. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a quaint village surrounded by dense forests and rolling hills, there was a small, humble cottage owned by a kind woman named Elara. Elara was known for her generous spirit and her love for all living things. Her garden was always blooming, and animals from far and wide came to her for help. One evening, as the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the land, Elara was tending to her garden when she noticed a strange, golden light flickering among the flowers. Curious, she followed the light and discovered an old, dusty lantern buried under a pile of leaves. Elara carefully picked up the lantern and brushed off the dirt. The lantern was ornately decorated with intricate patterns of stars and moons. It seemed to hum softly in her hands, as if it held a secret. As she brought the lantern inside and placed it on her mantle, the golden light grew brighter. With a soft click, the lantern's door opened, and out floated a tiny, shimmering fairy. The fairy's wings sparkled like diamonds, and her smile was as warm as sunlight. Thank you for freeing me, the fairy said with a voice as gentle as a summer breeze. I am Leora, the guardian fairy of wishes. For freeing me, I will grant you one wish. Elara was amazed but also a bit puzzled. She thought about what she might wish for. She had everything she needed and wanted nothing for herself. After a moment's reflection, she said, I wish for a way to help everyone in our village. Leora's eyes twinkled, and she waved her wand, sending a burst of sparkling light into the lantern. Your wish is granted. This lantern will now shine with a magical light that can bring joy and aid to those in need. But remember, the light only works if the heart behind it is pure. With that, Leora vanished back into the lantern, leaving Elara with a sense of wonder and responsibility. The next day, a storm hit the village, leaving the villagers in a state of disarray. Homes were damaged, and spirits were low. Elara knew this was the time to use the lantern's magic. She carried the lantern through the village, holding it high so that its warm, golden light could shine upon everyone. Wherever the light touched, flowers began to bloom, broken things were mended, and smiles appeared on the villagers' faces. The lantern's light spread joy and hope, transforming the village into a place of renewed happiness. But as the days went by, Elara noticed something even more magical. The lantern's light began to reveal hidden talents in the villagers. The blacksmith, who had always been gruff, found joy in creating beautiful sculptures. The baker, once shy, discovered a talent for storytelling that brought laughter to the village. The lantern's light helped each person find their own unique gift and encouraged them to share it with others. One evening, as the village celebrated their newfound joy and prosperity, Elara noticed that the lantern's light had dimmed. She was concerned but remembered Leora's words about a pure heart. She knew that the lantern's magic depended on the kindness of the one who carried it. Elara thought deeply and realized that the true magic was not in the lantern itself but in the way it had brought the villagers together and helped them discover their own potential. She decided to pass the lantern on to someone else in need, trusting that its magic would continue to spread. As she prepared to hand over the lantern, Leora reappeared, her eyes shining with approval. "You have used the lantern's magic wisely, Elara. The light it gave was a reflection of your own kindness and generosity. Remember, the greatest magic of all is the kindness in your heart." Elara smiled and handed the lantern to a young woman who had just moved to the village. She hoped that the lantern would continue to bring joy and inspiration to others. And so, the village thrived, and the enchanted lantern continued its journey, lighting up the lives of those who needed it most. Elara's selflessness and the lantern's magic became a cherished story in the village, a reminder that true magic lies in the kindness we share with others. And they all lived happily ever after. The end. In a kingdom far away, nestled between emerald hills and golden fields, there lay a hidden village known as Bramblewood. Bramblewood was a charming place where the air was always filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the laughter of its cheerful inhabitants. Yet, the village had one great mystery, an ancient lantern that hung in the village square, said to be enchanted. The lantern was old, with intricate designs of flowers and stars, and it glowed faintly with a warm, golden light. Legend had it that this lantern held the power to grant one wish to anyone who could solve its riddle. But for years, no one had been able to unravel the mystery. One fine day, a brave and kind-hearted girl named Lila arrived in Bramblewood. She had heard tales of the enchanted lantern and was eager to try her luck. Lila was known throughout the land for her adventurous spirit and her generous heart. She believed that if she could solve the riddle, she could use the wish to help those in need. As she entered the village, she saw the lantern swinging gently in the breeze. The villagers gathered around it, admiring its beauty but feeling a bit wary of its magic. Lila approached the lantern with a confident smile and said, "I'd like to try solving the lantern's riddle." The village elder, an old man with a long, white beard, nodded. "Very well, young one. The lantern's riddle has perplexed many, but we will see if you have the answer." The lantern's light flickered and then, magically, a riddle appeared in the air. "I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" Lila pondered the riddle deeply. She thought about the clues: something that grows but isn't alive, needs air but not lungs, and is extinguished by water. She walked around the village, observing the landscape and talking to the villagers, searching for inspiration. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over Bramblewood, Lila noticed a small fire burning in a nearby hearth. The flames danced and flickered, casting warm light and shadows. Suddenly, it struck her. With a look of realization, Lila hurried back to the lantern and declared, "The answer is fire." The lantern's light intensified, and a soft, melodious chime echoed through the village. The riddle was solved. The lantern's glow brightened, filling the village square with a warm, comforting light. A shimmering figure appeared before Lila. It was a benevolent spirit with a crown of stars and a flowing robe of silver. The spirit spoke in a gentle voice, "You have solved the riddle with wisdom and insight. As a reward, you may make a wish. Remember, a wish made with a selfless heart brings the greatest reward." Lila thought about her village back home and the people who struggled. She closed her eyes and wished, "I wish for the people of Bramblewood to always have light and warmth, so they never feel lonely or cold." The spirit smiled warmly and said, "Your wish is noble and kind. The magic of the lantern will ensure that Bramblewood will always have light and warmth, and the hearts of its people will always be filled with joy and togetherness." With that, the spirit vanished, and the lantern's light became even more radiant. The village was filled with a soft, golden glow that lasted all night, making everyone feel cozy and secure. The villagers were overjoyed. They celebrated Lila's bravery and kindness, and from that day on, the lantern's light never dimmed. The village of Bramblewood thrived, and its people lived happily, knowing they were always surrounded by warmth and light. Lila returned to her own village with a heart full of happiness, knowing she had made a difference. And whenever she looked up at the stars, she remembered the enchanted lantern and the magic it brought to Bramblewood. Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by rolling hills and lush meadows, there was a village called Rivendell. The villagers were kind and hardworking, and they had one beloved tradition. Every year, they would celebrate the Festival of Lights, which illuminated the entire village with glowing lanterns. However, one year, a mysterious fog descended upon the village, making it impossible for the villagers to light their lanterns. In this village lived a young girl named Leora. She was known for her bright spirit and unyielding curiosity. She loved the Festival of Lights more than anything and was determined to find a way to save it. The village elders, though concerned, had given up hope, believing that the fog would never lift. One day, as Leora wandered through the forest near Rivendell, she stumbled upon an old, forgotten path. Driven by her desire to help, she followed the path deep into the forest. After hours of walking, she found herself in front of a grand, ancient oak tree. The tree had a door carved into its trunk, which seemed to glow faintly. With a deep breath, Leora opened the door and stepped inside. The inside of the tree was a magical chamber, filled with glowing mushrooms and crystal-clear streams. In the center of the chamber was a wise old elf named Thorn, who had been guarding a special lantern for centuries. Thorn welcomed Leora and explained that the lantern was no ordinary one. It was the Lantern of Leora, named after a brave ancestor of hers who had once saved the kingdom from darkness. The lantern had the power to lift any magical fog, but it needed to be activated by someone with a pure heart and great courage. Thorn told Leora that the lantern could only be used once every 100 years and that its power had been sealed by a dark enchantment to prevent it from being used recklessly. To unlock the lantern's magic, Leora needed to complete 3 tasks, each representing a virtue: kindness, bravery, and wisdom. Task 1. Kindness. The first task led Leora to the River of Echoes, where a family of swans had been trapped by tangled reeds. The swans were desperate to be freed, but the reeds were too thick for them to navigate. Leora used her hands and tools to carefully untangle the reeds, freeing the swans. In gratitude, the swans gave her a feather each, which she was to keep as a symbol of kindness. Task 2. Bravery. For the second task, Leora ventured into the Whispering Caverns, where an enormous dragon had been guarding a precious gemstone. The dragon, though fierce, was actually under a spell that made it act out of anger and fear. Leora approached the dragon with a gentle heart, speaking to it with kind words and soothing gestures. She discovered that the dragon's spell was a result of a broken heart, and by offering it one of the swan feathers as a token of friendship, she broke the enchantment. The dragon was restored to its gentle self and gave Leora the gemstone as a reward for her bravery. Task 3. Wisdom. The final task took Leora to the enchanted library, where she needed to solve a riddle written on an ancient scroll. The riddle was a puzzle about the nature of light and darkness, and it required a deep understanding of the balance between them. After contemplating and reflecting on the riddle's meaning, Leora realized that true wisdom was knowing that light and darkness are part of a greater whole. She answered the riddle correctly, unlocking the scroll's magic and receiving a glowing crystal as a symbol of wisdom. With all three symbols of virtue, swan feathers, the gemstone, and the glowing crystal, Leora returned to the ancient oak tree. Thorn welcomed her back and was impressed by her achievements. Leora placed the symbols around the lantern of Leora, and the lantern's magic began to shine brightly. The lantern cast a brilliant light that cut through the fog surrounding Rivendell. As the light from the lantern reached the village, the fog lifted, and the villagers were amazed to see the Festival of Lights restored. The lantern's glow brought warmth and joy to the village, and the festival was more magnificent than ever before. The villagers celebrated Leora's bravery and kindness, and she became a hero in Rivendell. The lantern was returned to its place in the ancient oak tree, ready to be used again in another 100 years. Leora's story was told for generations, and her name became a symbol of courage and compassion. And so, the Festival of Lights continued to shine brightly in Rivendell, a testament to the power of kindness, bravery, and wisdom.